Record. We got one more minute. Turn on those videos. Everybody is sunburnt and tired from the fourth. Wait, there were no
No,
sunburns.
there was no sun.
There was no sun. Everybody's a little soggy. Their hair's a little damp, a little frizzy. It needs a little zhuzhing. Right, guys. Except for Steve, he always looks fabulous. Have a great Ignite.
Hi, everybody. I hope you guys all had a great holiday weekend. I am Rhonda Messenborg. I am team leader of Keller Williams Coastal in Rhode Island. And today I have Steve DeAngelis, who is helping out. He is our Market Center Tech Trainer. So thank you, Steve, for being on here and having my back this morning. So are you guys excited? Who's excited to learn about value propositions today? Yeah, it's such an important thing. And it's probably, I've always felt like it's probably one of the more difficult things as, as a realtor to try to pinpoint and try to really formulate and be able to communicate what your value proposition is, what sets you apart from all of the other realtors out there. I mean, there's a lot of us out there, and there's a lot of really good agents out there. Yeah, what sets you apart? Why should your customers work with you? And what do you bring to the table that will bring them value? So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about our value proposition and how to create one, and what are the elements that go into that, and some of the questions that you can ask yourself in order to help you come up with what your unique one is. So we ready to get started? I'm going to share my screen and find the PowerPoint here. Oh, let me do this. Let me get rid of mine. Let me not shut down Zoom.
No, don't do that.
Let me get rid of that. Let me find it. Here it is right here. Okay. You guys all see my screen? Let me put it down at the bottom. So one of the things too is that once I have all of you guys just down at the bottom, and I can only see about 5 of you. So as I want this to be super interactive, and I'm going to ask a lot of questions and stop along the way, so that way we can, we can talk about it. Yet if you have a question, or you can raise your hand. I think it might move you up to the front. If not, though, please just feel free to speak up. We're all friends here. And this is just for us to all share today. So please take yourself off mute if you have something to say. If you have a question to ask, I'm happy to stop, and we can chat about it. So let's get started. So far this is number 6 for Ignite, right? We went all through last week, sessions 1 through 5. Today is 6. Before we get going, does anybody have any ahas from the last 5 sessions? Anything that you particularly really have learned this go around with Ignite? Does anybody have anything to share?
This is really our 3rd meeting.
This is what?
Our 3rd meeting.
This is the 3rd meeting. Okay, because it started on the 1st, right? You're right. So we had the 1st. Okay, got it. Okay, so from then on to now, anybody have anything that they want to share from your experience with Ignite? Good.
I have a question.
Sure.
The do not call list. So I investigated that over the weekend.
Yep.
And I saw where I could put my phone number in, so nobody would robocall me from Hungary. But I didn't see where I could look up a number.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, David, because it is not, they don't make it very easy. There's all this talk about the do not call list. And yet I believe it's something that you have to subscribe to. And there is definitely, and Steve DeAngelis, if you know anything more about this, but I know this, and agents say this all the time, is it's not really easy to get. There's like no list you can just go check to see if a number is on it. You almost have to subscribe to get it. So there is a cost associated with it, to my knowledge. And you're right, it's much easier to put your number on than for people to go. And it should be something easier. Now, one thing I will say is that with a lot of the programs out there, like a lot of the dialers out there. So a dialer, for anybody that doesn't know, is simply a piece of software that you can load some numbers into in a variety of ways, and it will just, it will call the numbers for you, either one at a time, or some agents do them a couple at a time and kind of bounce off it, voicemail, etc. A lot of those programs will have it built in that you can automatically exclude anybody on the do not call list, and it's kind of built into that subscription. So I'll just throw that out there as food for thought as well. Steve, you have something to add?
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you put yourself on the do not call list, I think you have to wait 2 weeks for it to go to get fully into effect. And if someone calls you, if a telemarketer calls you after that, the onus is on you to report them. That's why you get that, when you get those telemarketing calls now, it's got a fake phone number. It'll give you a local phone number, and if you call it back, some poor person answers who's like, I've never called you. But the onus is on you to report the violation. And then if so it's not going to stop all the calls. It'll stop a lot of them. Some are still going to get through, and they're coming in from out of the country, so it's very tough to prosecute.
But thank you for bringing that up, David.
If not impossible to prosecute. I don't think the UN court will hear this case.
Awesome. Yes, it is a very important thing. So thank you that's a good thing to start off with today. So as successful agents, there's two things that we do every day. There's two categories of activities that we do. We grow our business and we run our business. To grow our business, we lead generate, we make seller listing presentations, buyer presentations, we preview real estate. To run our business, we market listings, we show houses, we negotiate contracts, we do transaction management on anything we have under contract until we get to the closing table. We also work with vendors. We have vendor management. It's really important to be in relationship with different vendors out there in the community. They are somebody that you can share referrals with. They are somebody who can support your business by sponsoring. Maybe they sponsor your newsletter. Maybe they sponsor an event that you're holding. So vendor relationships are very important. Setting goals. We should have goals set for what we want to do for the year, what we want to accomplish for the month, right down to what we want to accomplish for the week using our 411. So goal setting is very, very important. We always, as we were just talking about, compliance and risk management, and the do not call list is right at the top of that list. Here you are right now attending training and getting coaching. This is a learning business, and we should be learning every day. I've been in business since 2007, and I still learn something new every single day in this business and experience new things. It's important to invest in yourself and invest in your business. So attend trainings. Keller Williams offers some of the best training in the world for real estate agents, from local all the way up to our national and international events. So always tap into those and always be learning. And then equally important is managing our money, right? This is a business for all of us. And from day one, we need to run it like a business. Make sure you have a profit and loss statement. Make sure you are tracking your expenses. Make sure that you are, anything that you invest in, anything that you are buying leads from, etc. Make sure you're getting a return on your investment that is healthy for your business. So that is super important. I can say that that's probably one of the things that in my early years, I just always overlooked. I was so busy doing business that I never took the time to make sure that I was in compliance with my profit and loss statement. I ended up hiring a bookkeeper, which is actually very cost effective, and it is great. She handles it for me. She gives me a P&L at the end of every month for me to review, and I can go through it and make sure that I'm running my business to model.
Rhonda, if I can interrupt for a second. You're a week ahead of us.
What do you mean? What?
We're on section 3 today. Section 6 is next week.
Really?
Yeah.
Get into the gusto of it. All right, hold on. Oh my Lord. All right, hold on.
I hate to embarrass you like this, but
Hey, you know what? This is what real estate is all about. So it's actually not an embarrassment at all, Steve. So we just kind of pivot. How did I miss that? It's interesting because even my email last night said I was doing 6 in the email I got.
Because you're doing 6. You're doing 6 next week.
Am I not the instructor today?
Yes, you are you're the instructor for both.
Oh, okay. All right, hold on. Let's go back. Oh, goodness. All right, bear with me 1 second. Let me move you guys out of the way. Let me get back to Spark here. Let me see if I can just find the folder. Hey, Spark Slides, where's the folder? All right,
It's
we'll go to Spark 3. Language gets results. Is this what I am today? All right,
yes.
let's do it. Perfect. All right, so then I'm going to say that I don't have your book in front of me. So, all right, so then let's just get into it here. Okay, so let's talk about the big picture. Luckily for me, that Ignite starts the same every day and every way, and we go through those activities anyways. So, okay, so here we are. Now I'm on the right one. So let me get back up. So the big picture. So the big picture of language. So we're going to talk about scripts today. So who right now is using scripts when they are making phone calls? Who's diligent about using scripts? Anyone, please, you can take yourselves off mute because I can only see a couple of you. Anybody? Well, I'm going to share with you guys that we actually all use scripts on a daily basis, right? So really anything is, you know, we have conversations every single day. And a lot of times we're having the same conversations every single day. And even though you don't recognize that you might be using a script, you actually are using a script. So things that we say commonality, right? And that usually when usually when I answer the phone, I will say, you know, hi, this is Rhonda Messenborg. How may I help you? That's a script. So a lot of us are using scripts and we just don't know it. And a lot of times, as soon as somebody says,
sound background, so I can just hear this in the background.
as soon as somebody says, you know, that they want to do script practice, etc., it tends to make us like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to do that. Yet scripts are really important because what they do is they give you the points of what you should be saying. And also it allows you to practice so that way that they can start to sound natural to you. And many scripts out there, they will tackle the points and they will tackle the objections and let you know ahead of time what those potential objections may be. And so therefore you're able to be ready for those and you're able to handle those because that's what it's all about. And at the same time, it's about making it a little bit your own because you always want them to sound natural. Nobody wants to sound like they're reading from a script. And we've all gotten those phone calls before where you just know that they're just reading right off the script, right? And you're already kind of like, there's this little disconnect. So we're going to utilize scripts to just get the gist of what the conversation should be, what the objections are, and then to just start to become experts at them so they just roll off your tongue. So this is the list here of what scripts will help us do. They'll help us lead generate. They're going to help us get on the phone and talk to buyers and sellers. They're going to uncover motivations. So scripts are developed for you to ask questions, right? Every script, every conversation that you're having should be question heavy. We should always seek to understand what is important to our buyers, what's important to our sellers. And those scripts are just going to start getting our minds turning as to what kind of questions that we should be asking in order to uncover what the buyer or seller's true motivation is. Because if you don't know what their motivation is, then we can't help them. Identify objections, which we already talked about. It's going to help us to close deals. If we can get through all of that and you're asking the right questions and you know what they're motivated and you know how to help them, that is naturally going to help you to close more deals. Speak in terms that that customer understands, and they're actually going to help you build confidence. You know, usually when we hear about script practice, everybody's like, oh, our confidence goes right out the window. Yet the more you do it and the more that you overcome that fear of doing scripts, it's actually going to build your confidence. And I can say, like for me, as well, that when I first would be doing script practice, and I do it as a team leader. As I mentioned, I'm the team leader for Keller Williams Coastal. When I, even now with my coach, we do script practice. And in the beginning, I would be like, oh, I don't want to do that. And now she'll be like, okay, you know what, Rhonda, let's role play this. And, you know, and now I can just kind of launch right into it, because you're going to learn from it and you're going to actually then become more comfortable, especially if you're hitting a roadblock, or especially if you're like, I'm not sure what to say to this person. All right, well, let's talk about it. Let's role play it. And then that way we can have some ideas. And a lot of times when I do that afterwards, I'm like, oh, that's so helpful. I didn't think of that. I didn't think of handling that objection in that way. So don't be afraid of it. So understanding scripts. Did you find everything you were looking for? These are just some examples. Go ahead, look around, and please let me know if I can help you. I see you're admiring that big screen TV. Are you looking to get one for the big game this weekend? So they're just there to be able to ask questions and to start that dialogue with, you know, with a potential customer in this case, but we're working with sellers and buyers. Okay, I'm going to just move on right here. So the benefits. So I know they're here on the screen. And aside from these, does anybody else have any other benefit that they can come up with as to why a script might be important for you to use? Or we were just talking, that screen before said removing your limiting beliefs. What are some of the things that hold us back or hold you back, if anybody wants to be honest and share? What are your limiting beliefs around script? Does anybody want to share?
I think sometimes a script can sound very canned, and I know it takes a lot of practice not to sound like that, but I've always been very good at just speaking without a script.
Mm-hmm.
So I honestly don't know. I'm very new, so I don't know how or if it will help me. I'm certainly willing to give, you guys are the experts. I'm certainly willing to give it a shot, but like I said, in my experience, and I managed warehouses for years and had to interact with a lot of corporate people. I used to come prepared with knowledge in my head, and I'd be able to speak off the top of my head. So I was much better like that. But like I said, I'm here to learn, and I want to keep my mind open.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Jim. Yeah, that's awesome. And probably a lot of what you say too, Jim, is probably something that if you really stop and listen to yourself, you probably say things in the same way consistently when you're dealing with, situations. And so in theory, you have developed your own script. And that's great. Yeah. And, and here's the trick. This is one thing that I've always said.
That actually makes a lot of sense. Actually, it's probably based on my experience in that makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. Yeah. And, and you've done it, and you kind of hit the nail on the head, because it is important to get to that point, to practice enough to get to that point where it does sound natural and it doesn't sound canned. I have listened to, agents over the years who are working off of a script, and that is great. However, you have to make sure that you're not so into the script that you are actually stop communicating with the person on the other end of the conversation, because sometimes you're just so into thinking about what I need to say next and where I need to take the conversation. Sometimes the seller or the buyer is going to say something that has nothing to do with what the next line of your script is. So you do need to be able to pivot and make sure that you're answering whatever question that they have raised before you. Because sometimes we could get so into the script that we just kind of glaze over what they just asked and moved on to the next thing that the script says. And now you are no longer in rapport with them. You are not listening to them, and they are going to just feel completely disconnected from you. And that's why it's important to practice, because in practice, when you're doing role play practice, what's really cool is, like, you know, you sit across the table from somebody and you just say, okay, we're going to go down the script, and you start doing it. And the person that's practicing with you is going to throw in some stuff that's like completely off the wall. And you get to practice on how you're going to handle that and how you're going to bring the conversation back to uncovering. The purpose is to uncover what their motivation is, so that way you can help them. Does that make sense?
One of the other benefits of using a script is it's kind of a checklist. It just reassures that you've asked all the important questions. You haven't gone down that rabbit hole and missed something very important that you're going to need later on.
Exactly.
So you don't have to have, 85 pieces of paper sitting in front of you. But if you don't, if you're brand new, it's good to have the paper handy so you can remember to keep on track and to hit all the important points.
In my experience, it's also been great to handle objections with scripts.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Exactly. That's probably one of the most important, things is it allows you to start to formulate on how to handle objections. Because we get a lot of them, for many different reasons, and being able to handle those objections just makes the conversation be able to continue and move forward. There's nothing like there, it's hard. And you know what, and a lot of us here on the call is new, and that's okay. That's what we're here for. We're here to learn, and we're here to build experience. And so it's, don't worry about it. Give yourself some grace, give yourself time to learn this business and to practice this skill, and to get better at it. And sometimes, people will throw an objection at you, and even still, like for me, and then you're just kind of like, oh, okay, you're not really sure where to go from there. And so you're just like, oh, okay. And then, you're like, I'm not really sure what to say. And then the conversation may end there, but that's okay. Because then, you're like, okay, you know what? I need to seek to understand how to handle that objection the next time, and figure out what to say. And that's all part of script practice. And that's why we do it. And some of the best agents in the industry, one of our agents that's in Connecticut, Jessica Starr, I just love her. And I always try to emulate her, and I always use her as a role model for myself. She is, one of our mega agents. She has a team. She's a great agent. She script practices, I think, not just once, but twice a day for like 15 minutes. That's what she does every single day. As good as she is, as successful and experienced as she is, she still script practices every single day just to make sure she's on her game and that she's able to talk to her clients and get through that conversation. And I think that just says a lot. And it's just something to really, really kind of think about and embrace. So here on the screen, so scripts, we were just talking about that, they build confidence. They allow you to stay focused in conversation and in the present moment, which is very, very important to not be too scripty. Make sure that you're present. Make sure you're listening to what conversation is happening around you. And they also allow you to be consistent in what you say and in the actions that we take.
Okay, Rhonda, we had a question from Rachel Maxfield. Where can we find scripts? And I sent a note out to everyone saying, if you download the student package from Keller Williams Ignite, there are scripts included in almost every section.
Mm-hmm. Great.
There are also scripts available in KW University in various training modules. So your best thing is to go see your team leader, and they can point you right to where a good script would be for what your issue is.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and on top of that too, if you need a script for something, if you're having, a roadblock, or you're having an issue where somebody came in with an objection and you're not sure how to handle it, absolutely go see your team leader. That's what we're here for. We're here to support you, and I had a call from one of our agents last week who, one of her buyers, she was kind of a little stumped on how to move forward this conversation she was having. And, we just talked about it and we talked through it. So use your leadership in your market center, because that is what we're here for. We are here to help you. And you are absolutely not in this alone. And all of our agents, that's one of the magic. That's one of that's the Keller Williams magic, is that all of our agents in our market centers, we're all here to help each other. And there is a culture of collaboration here. So, talk to one of the more experienced agents in your market center as well, and just say, hey, I just came up against this and I'm not really sure how to handle it. They will be more than happy to sit down and say, you know what, this is what I say in this objection, or this is how I've handled that objection in the past. So definitely reach out. But as Steve said, there are definitely a lot of script books out there. Ignite has one, so we'll make sure we get that in everybody's hands. Okay, and I did just pull up the participant guide here, so that way I make sure that I am following along here. Sorry again about my little mix up. Okay, so role model. So understanding scripts. So when you are handed a new script that you are about to master, here is your roadmap to doing that. So number one, read the first sentence of the script out loud 5 times. Second, repeat the same sentence 5 times while smiling. Now, why should you smile? Why? Why should you smile when you're reading a script? Does anybody know?
They can hear it in your voice when you're on the phone.
Absolutely, Jessica. They can hear it in your voice. If you're like talking like this, like, oh my God, I'm going to read this script. Or if you're talking like, oh my God, I'm going to read this script. It just, when you smile, it changes your outward tone, and you sound happy on the phone, and you sound like you want to help them. You can hear the tone in people's voice. And just by smiling, you can't sound unhappy when you're smiling. It's just absolutely impossible. Absolutely impossible. So absolutely repeat the same sentence 5 times while smiling. Third, read the second line of the script out loud 10 times while smiling. Then say this, those lips are kind of throwing me off. I don't know why there's a lip icon there. It's like, no idea. But say the script from memory. Recite the first 2 sentences 10 times with a smile. Oh, we're back. Then say the script by adding 1 sentence at a time, repeating 10 times. So say the script by adding 1 sentence at a time, repeating it 10 times. So you're going to start with the first 2 lines, you're gonna say it 10 times. Then you're going to add the 3rd line, repeat it 10 times. You're gonna add the 4th line, repeat it 10 times, and so on. And this is what's gonna help you to memorize that script. I gotta keep moving you guys because it's on the bottom of my screen. And then say the entire script as fast as you can 5 times. And then once you do that, then you're going to be kind of ready. Now you're going to at least know the script. So now you're not going to have to worry about not knowing what to say. Now you can actually just really kind of own it, kind of put your own little flavor on it a little bit. It doesn't mean that, this is like the thing is that, these scripts have been written, they've been proven, and they work. So don't recreate them. You don't have to like throw them out and kind of change things and say, you know what, I'm going to say it this way because that's better. Use it, take it and use it. But absolutely, make it your own. There might be something personal that you might add into the script, a personal story or something that you might kind of slip in there or something. So by all means, you want to make it your own, yet don't feel like you have to just change it. I was in a mastermind 2 weeks ago, and we were given a script to use. And this is for team leader stuff. This was talking with other agents. And specifically when we were given the script, they said, do not change it. Don't use it verbatim. Don't change it. Use your personality to drive the script home and to make it your own. You can do that just by putting your own personality into it, but use the script that's there because it works. And sometimes you read a script and you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to say, I'm not comfortable saying that, but just embrace it. I think a lot of that is our mindset of just trying to get over those limiting beliefs. And then once you accept it and once you embrace it, then all of a sudden it's going to become just second nature to you. So what do you guys think about this? Anybody ever done it?
No, we'll road test it.
Let's road test it. Okay. Okay, so let's see. All right, so let's do that. I think that this is, you know, sometimes in the Ignite sessions, it's kind of hard to kind of fit in the activity time. But let's take like just 5 minutes. And Steve, is there a script that we can pull up and put in the chat super quickly, like just a short one?
Hold on a second.
Okay. And so what we'll do is we won't do partners, but I'm just going to give everybody 5 minutes. I'm just going to put us on mute for 5 minutes. And Steve's going to put a script out there. And then let's just do that as much as we can. And I'll go back to that screen so that way it's up on the screen. And then I just want us to come back and I just want to know how you feel about it. And if anybody wants to, then I'm going to have I will role play with you and we'll go through the script and just have a little fun. And the one thing that I absolutely will say, this is like no judgment zone. I don't care. It doesn't matter if we mess it up. It doesn't matter. Like, this is a learning experience. So this is our safe place to be able to do this. So we'll kind of just go through it together if anybody is willing to do it. If not, Steve will. Right, Steve?
I'm trying to find the script. I know it's here.
We'll get it. We'll get it. So I'm going to put back this, I put that back so that way that's on the screen for us. Did you find one for us, Steve?
I think I got one here. Hold on a second. I'm not having luck with this.
Okay, we'll do that a little later. We'll move on and then you
Okay.
keep working on that. Let us know. Okay. All right, so. Okay, so while Steve is doing that, we're going to talk about the goals that are going to set our careers on fire here. So this is going to come up in every single Ignite. We talk about this every single time. If you do these 4 things absolutely consistently, then you are going to set your career ahead and you are going to build business in your career. So every one of us should be committed every single day to doing these 4 activities. You should add 10 contacts to your database every single day. So you should seek to speak to 10 new people every single day and add them to our database. Now, is everybody here? Is everybody in Command? Is everybody using the CRM portion of Command? Is anybody not using it?
I'm not yet. This is Amy.
Hey, Amy.
Hi. I'm well. How are you?
Doing great. I'm doing great. So yeah, so we will, so we'll get you up and running on Command. Your Market Center Tech Trainer can absolutely help you with that. What Command does, the CRM portion, is it allows you to track your contacts, track all the information that you know about them. And this goes back to scripts, right? This goes back to a script for when you are starting a brand new conversation with somebody. What does that script look like? Right? And don't be afraid to ask questions. Every single time that we are speaking to somebody, every script that we are using should be full of questions to ask. And don't be afraid to ask things like, what is your home address? You know, I'd like to add you to my database. Do you mind if I just ask you a couple of questions to make sure that I have all of your correct information? Right? And, you know, sometimes we're afraid like, oh, I don't know if they're not going to give me their home address. No, ask away. You know, what is your, how do you spell your last name? Make sure you have the right spelling of their name. May I ask, what is your significant other or spouse's name? Do you have any children? Ask for their children's names. You know, people might say, oh, why are you asking for my children's names? Listen, you know, I always like to send out birthday cards, etc. If somebody's not comfortable sharing that information with you, they don't, and you can absolutely always preempt it with, if you're comfortable sharing, I would love, you know, your children's names, because we do enjoy sending out birthday cards to our clients and their families. What is your home address? What is your email address? I would love to connect with you on social media. Are you, you know, is it possible for me to find you on Facebook? Right? Just ask those questions. It's going to show your clients that you are thoughtful and that you are thorough, and that you're going to ask them questions, that you're always going to be going that little extra step with them to really find out what is important to them. Right? I mean, it's sometimes you go the other way, like you just get a phone number and you're like, okay, thank you. Okay, yep, thank you, bye. And you have no other information on them whatsoever. And you're like, oh, I should have asked what their email address is, right? They're going to be like, that's odd. They didn't even ask me anything, right? So they kind of can go the other way. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with if your intent, the intent is to gather as much information so that way you can communicate with them. And one other question that you should ask is, how do you like to be communicated with? Would you like text messages? Do you like email messages? Would you prefer a phone call? That's a great question to ask, because that shows that you're just being respectful to your clients and how they prefer to be communicated with. So you're going to put all that information. There's a spot in Command for all of that information on every little piece of info that you can find on them. And then you're also going to be able to add notes for that contact. You're going to be able to track when you had a meeting with them. You're going to be able to, it's going to connect to your email. So when you email them, it's going to show a timeline history of all of your communication with them. So it's a really, really kind of cool, you know, way to really, really track your business. And also that Command CRM portion, that is the gateway to everything down to the closing with your clients. So you're going to track your transactions in there. You're going to track your offers in there. You're going to track your commissions in there. So Command is just going to, it's going to start, it all starts with that contact, and everything is going to blossom off of that for there. So make sure that you're taking the time to add them into Command, and just get in that habit of doing it at the end of the day. Before you leave your office at the end of the day, or before you shut your computer, if you're working from home, take 30 minutes and say, who did I speak to today that's new? I'm going to go in and put them into Command. Who else did I speak to? I'm going to go in and put a note so that way I can remember the last time I talked to them and what that conversation was. And, you know, get really granular with it. Maybe, you know, maybe they just had to have a surgery for something. You might want to note that in the note, so the next time you reach out to them, you could say, hey, how are you feeling? because when you're talking to a lot of people on a daily basis, it's easy just, I mean, you know, we're human, so it's going to be easy to kind of just forget what that conversation was that you had with them the last time. So, you know, utilize the notes and all of that. That kind of goes in with the 10 conversations a day. 10 conversations, add those contacts into your database. Send 10 handwritten notes. Handwritten notes are like one of my favorite things to do with our clients. It's just send a little handwritten note. That sentiment goes so far. And you can do it around, you can do it as like around their birthday. You can do it around the start of summer. There's always a reason to send a handwritten card and make it something like super little fun. You know, during COVID, my team administrator and I, because we do run a team as well, we ended up sending out handwritten notes to our clients with a $1 scratch card in it, and just said, you know, again, we made up some cute little saying at the time. At that time, we were all on hunker down. We were all, you know, in quarantine. You know, we said something like, you know, we're all itching to get out and see each other again. In the meantime, you know, here's a little scratch card. You know, people were so excited. We got a couple messages back that people want $1 or something. It was a really inexpensive way to just kind of, you know, show somebody that you were thinking of them. In the spring, we sent out hand cards. We put a little packet of seeds in there and just said, you know, welcome to spring. Here's a little packet of seeds of flowers. So there's always something kind of nice that you can just kind of put in there just to let your clients know that you're thinking of them. So send out 10 handwritten notes a day to your database. And then, you know, especially for those of us that are new, and also for those of us that are experienced, it's really important that we know the market. And it's really important that we know what inventory is out there. Nina, do you have a question?
I do. So in Command, when I go into Command and I try to send an email via Command, it goes to a different email. Like, so do I is it possible to do an email through Command, or without it going to my Keller Williams email account?
I believe, and Steve, I'm going to let you jump in on this. So go ahead. You're our tech trainer. Can you answer that?
Yeah, you actually have two email accounts. You have your .kw, you have your .kw.com email account, which is through Gmail. And then there's also an email account built into Command. So if you're sending an email directly from Command, if you use the Gmail account, you can point it to that, but most cases, it'll go into the Command email and go through that. I don't know if I'm making any sense to you, but
Okay,
it's
so say that.
okay. If you're sending an email from Command, it's going to default to the Command email server. If you connect your Gmail account in the settings, you can tell it to you know, then it's aware of that, and you can tell it to use it. So you have to go and check your settings.
Okay, so how do most people do it? Do they just take the email address and then go back and do it through their regular account, or?
It really depends on how many emails you're sending out. If you're sending a one-on-one email, if you do it through your Gmail account.
Okay.
If you're sending an email out to more than 50 people, do it through the Command email account, because what happens is you send out 50 emails at once, you're going to trip every spam filter out there, and everyone's going to either block your message or throw it away. Bulk mail services like MailChimp or the Command email account stagger the sending. So it's not saying, hey, look, Nina's sending out 100 emails, stop her.
Okay.
It's saying, oh, she's sending out five emails. That's okay. Those can go through.
Okay.
Now, the benefit of using the KW email account for the one-on-ones is if you have it connected to your Command account, when you look at your customer relationship panel on your contact record, the right hand of the screen, it'll show that email. It'll show that communication going back and forth. If you're using iMail or something else that's not connected, you won't have you'll have to hand enter that, a record of that communication into Command.
Okay. All right.
All right.
I'm not tech savvy, so.
It's a little, I know it's a little confusing. I mean, I can say, Nina, that, you know, I typically, if you're going to, as Steve said, if you're going to send out a bulk, like if you're utilizing the smart plans, you're going to use that command mail, and the smart plans it'll just automatically send it, you know, send it out to that bulk. Yet typically as well, if I'm just emailing somebody one-off, I just will copy their email address and or you just click on it, it'll open up your Gmail account, or, you know, your KW account, because our KWs are Gmail accounts in essence. So if you just click on it, it will open it up in the browser, so that way you can just email them directly.
All right, mine's coming out as like a different format. It comes out like as a, I don't know, through like, I don't even know. I guess I could look right now. And
is it opening up Gmail for you, or is it opening up a different program?
so when I go into, actually, I gotta move you guys. Hold on a second. How do I move you? Okay. So when sorry everyone. So when I go into their email and it has like the little envelope next, it goes into, it asks me to choose an account. And so if I go into my regular Gmail, like it's showing me, you know what, I don't know. I think I need to talk to my tech person, because
I'm gonna help you mine right now. Let's and then you tell me if this is what you see. So when I go into my thing, let me just grab somebody. So when I click on Abigail's email address, do you get this?
No.
Okay. So let me, you said you clicked on, okay, so yep, that's what I'm clicking on.
So when you go into continue, I just want to see what yours looks like.
Go into continue, it actually opens up my this is my Keller Williams. Don't just ignore that, because that's a different extension.
Yeah.
So it opens up my mail, and then when I hit compose, that little message had said that it copied her onto the clipboard, and so then I can just paste it into the line, and then I can send her a message.
Okay. Yeah, see, mine doesn't look like that. So I don't know. I think I need to talk to my tech person.
Yeah, so talk to your tech trainer, and have them like walk you through and just see why that doesn't look like that for you.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Sorry if I set you off.
No, you're good. You're absolutely good. All right. So Steve, were you able to find a script for us?
Yes, I did. But really quickly, Nina, what market center are you in?
I'm in the Lexington office at North.
Okay, Boston Northwest.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that Ken Tobick is your person. If you can't get a hold of him, call me and I can kind of feed you through it offline.
Okay, I think it's Michael.
Oh yeah, Mike can do it too. And if you can't get a hold of him, give me a call. I can help you out.
Okay, I guess I need your contact info. So
I'll put it in the chat after I do the script.
okay, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Okay, so and of course, as all good realtors, I had to break off for a phone call because I just had a wonderful opportunity drop in my lap. Rhonda, can you let me share screen?
Yeah, I'm going to stop sharing mine for a moment and let me. Okay, you should be all set.
Okay, so this is a little script that's in the Ignite book for referrals. It's pretty straightforward. It's short and sweet. It's followed by a little script for people who are new to Keller Williams and another script for people to try to convince people to download your app. So you want to work with this one first?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay.
All right, how about if we read through it first together, just to give everybody an idea. Okay, so it says, okay, great. All right, thanks, Steve. All right, so Steve, how about if you and I do it together first?
Okay. You can be the realtor.
Okay, great. Okay, hi Steve. My name is Rhonda Messenborg with Keller Williams Realty. Your name was given to me by a close friend of both of ours, Valerie, and she said that I should give you a call. Is right now a good time to talk for a couple of minutes?
Yeah, I've got a few minutes.
Oh, excellent. That's great. So Valerie said that you were thinking about buying a home in Newport and asked if I would please give you a call. She and I both want to make certain that you are in great hands and that you have the very best service, and that is exactly why I'm calling.
Okay.
Since everyone likes to know what houses are selling for, I'd like to share my real estate app with you. You can see what's going on anywhere from your street to, say, up in the north end of Newport. It's free, there's no cost to you, and I can send you a text to link to it. How does that sound?
That sounds like a good idea.
Okay, great. So, okay, now we're going to go on because he's a buyer. So, by the way, Steve, let me ask you a couple of questions. Have you been out there looking in the market? Have you seen anything that you like so far?
Well, I looked at a couple of condos over on Bellevue Avenue. They seem to go very quickly. I look at something and then the next day it's gone.
Yeah, this market right now is a seller's market, and things that are coming on the market and priced right, they are getting scooped up in a matter of days. So you definitely have to be ready to move forward if you see something that that you like. So Steve, let me ask you another question. Are you already working with an agent?
No, I've just been out looking on my own.
Okay, all right, great. Well, you should definitely work with a buyer's agent because they are somebody that will protect your best interests and can absolutely help you navigate through the buying process.
Well, what are you going to charge me?
So one of the great things about a buyer's agent, Steve, is that typically there is no cost to the buyer. In most transactions, the seller pays the full transaction and the listing agent shares that commission with the buyer's agent. So there is no cost to the buyer.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yes, absolutely. So the next step is for you and I to get together. I'd love to sit down, answer all of your questions. I'd love to talk with you about our buyer's agreement and go through that. So that way we fully can talk about and understand what each of our roles are as we work together towards finding you a home. Would that be okay with you, Steve?
Sure.
Okay, awesome. It'll only take about 20 minutes. And if you're available, I can meet today at 3, or tomorrow's better for you. I can meet at 4 p.m.
Tomorrow at 4 is better.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so that's the gist of it. And if you guys had noticed that, and this is actually the first time that I had eyeballed this script in particular, yet, you know, you can you want to add in, like we were talking about before, is you don't want to just read it verbatim. And as Steve was kind of talking about things that are going under the market super fast, you don't want to just glaze over it and move on to the next thing like he never said anything at all. So you want to make sure you're able to add a little bit and respond to what your buyer or what the seller just said to you. So that way you are acknowledging them, and then get right back into the script and make sure that you hit the next point. So how did you guys just feel about that script?
I liked it. The just the flow was really nice.
Yeah, right. It's a really nice flow. And you know, this is like a script where there was like a warm referral, right? So I mean, I wasn't picking up the phone and just dialing and just asking Steve if he was somebody who was thinking of buying, selling, or investing. This is somebody that you know, a mutual friend had kind of put us together, which is nice, right? So this is a good one to start with. So let's do we want, I think I can break us into maybe groups here. Let me see let's see what I can do here. So I am going to do, how many of us are on here? There are, wow, there's 71 of us on here. That's awesome. So I'm going to break us into, let's see, if we did, how about if we do, can we do 3 to a group? Let me just do some quick math here. 3, that would give us 23 rooms. That's a lot. So I'm going to put us into 6 rooms. Divided by 6. That'll put us into 11. Okay. And so I think there should be about 11 rooms. Okay. So I'm going to assign you guys into rooms, and that way you guys just get into like little groups. And then I want you guys just to practice the script, do it like a few times, and each of you just kind of participate. Somebody do it, somebody be the agent, somebody be the buyer or the seller, whatever you choose. It can go either way. And then do it a few times. And then I want us to come back. This will just kind of get us into small groups and kind of practicing. And then we'll come back in like 10 minutes. And then I would love for a couple of you who are brave to role play it together, or Steve or I can role play it with you as well, just to kind of get you into the flow. The hardest part about script practice is the very first time you do it, because you feel a little self-conscious. You're like, I don't really, people are going to think I'm going to mess it up. It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter, because practicing is just going to make you more and more comfortable with it. And like I said, this is like no judgment zone. This is like your safe place. So just get in there, just jump in. I had never seen this script before when Steve popped it up. So I was trying to read it. I was trying to sound natural. And so, that's okay. Like, you've never seen it before. So just kind of go with it. Let yourself go, give yourself permission to sound a little bit uncomfortable at first. But that'll kind of get us into the realm of starting to get comfortable and doing it. And then after this Ignite, find an agent either in your market center, or find somebody, out there that says, you know what, will you be my script partner? And let's just practice half an hour a day. We're gonna pick our 6 favorite scripts, right? Spend a little time, get your 6 favorite scripts. And then for half an hour every day, we're just gonna go through those scripts for half an hour and say them back and forth. And after the first week, you're gonna be so comfortable with it, and it's gonna change the conversations that you're having with your clients. Okay, so I'm gonna just throw us all in the fire right now, and we're just gonna do it. And then we're going to come back and we're going to see how you guys did. Okay, good. Okay, here we go. Hopefully you're all getting an invitation about now to go join a room. Okay. Okay, is anybody here in this room with me? I don't know if I'm in a room or still in the main. Can anybody hear me? Is everybody here? Okay, I think these might be all of us. So I'm going to go back in the breakout rooms. There.
Does anyone here have the Ignite script or a link to the book that was mentioned?
I don't have one either.
Thanks. We were just in a breakout room and we don't have the material to actually run through the scenario. Okay, thank you.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to ask, are we in the right room? Wasn't it only supposed to be 10 minutes?
I was just wondering the same thing. Now there's only 18 of us here, 19 now. Oh,
I think you're right. I know I was here before and then they were doing breakout groups, but I was driving, so I had to get out because I didn't want to be, the lame part of the groups, but now I can't get back in, so I don't know what's going on. You know what? I have a friend that's in the class right now. I'll text him really quick and see what's going on. I'll let you know. I'm Rebecca, by the way.
Hi, Rebecca. I'm Tasia. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I don't know what to do here. Okay.
So it looks like my friend said they're still in their groups. Does anybody hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just got a
Okay.
pop-up. I just got a pop-up that said Rhonda's gonna close it in a minute. Oh, now it's closing.
Okay, cool. All right. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you.
Oh my God, I'm talking and I'm on mute. Were all of you guys in breakout rooms, or were some of you guys, noticed that some of you guys had not joined over. Was that by design or was there a little glitch?
On my part, by design, I'm driving, so
Okay.
I couldn't really read a script.
That's okay. No worries at all. No worries.
So our breakup room, we didn't have the script.
Yeah, so I had noticed that once we went into the breakout room, Steve's screen did not share over. And I was trying to make my way through a lot of the rooms, just to kind of talk through just the general stance of the script that we read. So, so that's okay. And we're gonna do it. I'm gonna have Steve put it up again, once he gets back in here. I know he was sharing his room, his screen. So then that way we can go through it. I mean, this was just a really simple script. There it is. Just about reaching out to somebody who was referred to you as a buyer's agent or a listing agent, and just to kind of go through that conversation of sharing your app with them, to give them real-time data as to the market, and then asking for an appointment to sit down and talk with them. So who wants to role play? Do I have two volunteers that want to do it together? Somebody can be the agent and somebody can either be the lister, the seller, or the buyer. Do I have two volunteers? Anybody feeling brave?
I'll try to be a buyer.
Okay, so we have our buyer, and who wants to be the agent? Anyone?
I'll do it. I'll do it.
All right, good. Okay, go ahead. Take it away. Take it away, guys.
Okay, let me just move this so I could see. I can't even read this. Okay. And all right, so I'm just gonna give him like a phone call really quick. Who am I calling, just so I know?
Calling David Elliott.
David Elliott. Okay, so.
And I'm a buyer.
And David Elliott's a buyer. Okay, let's call him up on my hand phone. Answer whenever you'd like. You can let me wait till the last ring if you want. I'm gonna be.
Hello?
Hi, how's it going today? My name's Anthony. I'm a realtor here in the Seacoast. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with today?
You don't know who I am and you're calling me? Bye.
I got your name off one of our Keller Williams websites, and it just shows your user ID, but I saw you were interested in homes in the Rye Beach area. And it's a beautiful area. It's an area I specialize in. And I would love to, set something up for you, because a lot of these open houses get jam-packed. So I've always found that my clients appreciate a private showing. What I want to do today, David, is send over an email to you, which will contain a calendar link. I've already reached out to some of the agents listing these properties. Luckily, being with Keller Williams, we are huge in this area. So it helps us get a more serious offer if you were interested, and it helps us get, a little bit, preferred private showings, because I actually personally know some of the agents listing these houses. I sent you over, I'm going to send you over a calendar link. It's going to have, a time and date, which, we can set up a viewing at 123 Beach Road, which I saw you, were on a few times looking. You favorited that home. It's a beautiful home. I actually did a little bit of research on that home. And I think right now, if we came in with a strong offer, we'd actually be able to build a lot of equity in that purchase. Would that be something you'd be interested in, Dave?
You're not sending the app to me so I can look at properties?
No, I found your information off the Keller Williams website. I think there's a username associated with your phone number, which I called. And ideally, I don't know. I think you already have. I don't know, but anyways, that's
I'm just giving you a hard time.
I know. Because that's something I don't know if that is what I'm saying. I don't know if that's a real thing. Obviously, like that's what the app would do. I don't know if there's a way to do that without the app, because I find it personally. I'm a young guy, I have young friends. I find it's tough because people are like, I don't want this app. Like, I don't want to download another million apps on my thing.
All right.
And
No,
I'm like, okay, what about my website?
No, you can, through your realtor group,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be a realtor. They can send out emails of condos or homes in an area when they come on the market. And they'll get them every day or two. Oh, here's a new house in the Rye Beach area.
Mm-hmm.
And it's seamless. I mean, you don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Do it through your realtor organization. But anyway, enough of the apps. But to carry on with this, I would like to see that property.
Awesome. What's the best email I can send that calendar link over to? I usually try to get in there Thursday at like dinner time, 5 p.m. Just because we like to make sure people can still enjoy their weekends. And really, I advise all my clients to set up a private showing, because if you're in the hustle and bustle of an open house, you get someone behind you. It's like playing mini golf. You know, you can never really get the right strokes in because you're looking over your shoulder. And honestly, if we can get in a little bit earlier than the crowd, we could assess when to put our offer in. That would be the most, you know, I don't know the word right now for it. The best time to put our offer in. We could maybe even put in our offer as something they can kind of consider before even having their open house. So the whole time they're looking at people coming in lowballing. We have a nice strong offer that's not a lowball, but it's, you know, appropriate for what the property is. They'll be thinking about, you know, that confidence they have it in their back pocket, and it'll probably be, you know, one that they'd highly consider. I don't know if that's something to say at all or anything, but you know, spitballing. But yeah, let me, I'll get your email and I will send that over right now.
Okay, that's great. And 5 o'clock showing, yeah, it'd be nice for me since I'm the family cook. And I usually start cooking about 5:30, 5:45, so we can plate the meal for 7 o'clock. And it's also gin and tonic time.
Yep. I'm
but
driving.
Anyway, you know, if we could do it, you know, 4:15.
That works perfectly fine.
That would be easier for me.
I work with a lot of folks that are doing the 9 to 5 thing. So I'm stuck in 9 to 5 mode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. I could do, you know, 3:45, 4 o'clock, and we could get in there and I can check to that age.
And just send me the address and I'll meet you there at 4 o'clock.
Alrighty, sounds good. Thank you, Dave. It was nice speaking with you. Call me anytime.
All right, it's great talking to you.
All right, bye now. That guy, Jesus.
Great.
Oh my God, this guy on the phone I was just talking to. Oh my God.
What I love is that you guys ended up on such a personal note, like you let the conversation just go to, you know, you guys had some really great rapport in talking about, you know, dinner and gin and tonic time and all of that. My only suggestion would be, Anthony, is just to, you know, don't be afraid to ask some more questions in the beginning and just find out, you know, exactly what homes that they've been looking at, what, you know, drew them to those homes. Ask them if you should always ask everybody if they are working with a buyer's agent already, especially if they are a lead off of a website or something like that, because you don't want to get in the situation where you end up going down this road and you're spending time with them and taking them to showings and then find out that they actually have a buyer's agent and they just didn't understand. Because a lot of times consumers don't get it. Like they don't understand that they have to have like one agent if they're going to be working with a buyer's agent. And they're just be like, oh, I thought you were just showing me the house. I didn't realize, you know, what I do. I'm working with my sister or something like that. So always ask that question to protect your time and to make sure that, you know, you're not, you know, somebody's not already working with somebody.
Yep. Yeah.
Now, yeah, go ahead, Trevor. You're on mute, just so you know.
Okay. So Sheena and I were doing one, and I was a buyer and she wanted to set an appointment with me on Saturday. And I said, that's great. I said, that's great because I'm meeting Keith from Keller Williams tomorrow. So if that happens, how do you handle that?
So we were talking about that in a couple of the rooms that I was in and out of, is if somebody does say, as you say, you know, have you already spoken with a buyer's agent? And they said, yes, you know, actually I did speak with somebody yesterday, or yeah, I actually did a showing with somebody, you know, yesterday from Keller Williams. You know, the next question, especially if they met with them, is saying, are you, you know, oh, okay, so are you working with them exclusively? Have you signed a buyer's agreement with them, and are you working with them exclusively?
So ours would have been, they haven't even met the agent yet, but they had an appointment to meet another agent already.
Okay. Yep. So in that instance, I would say, you know, listen, there's a lot of us out there, and I understand there's a lot of buyers agents out there. I would love the opportunity to sit down with you for 20 minutes and talk with you about the value that I can provide to you as a buyer and help you find the home that you are looking for. You know, in the end, it's important to make sure that you're working with the right buyer. So I would just love the opportunity to have the chance to earn your trust, to be your agent, and to find out if we are a good match to work together.
Okay, now what if I have an appointment with this other agent first and they basically do a wonderful job presenting themselves and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go. Let's do this. And I'm thinking, well, I'm just going to have to call Sheena back and say, sorry, you know, I did make a commitment to the other realtor. So if I haven't met that person yet, would you say anything like, listen, don't sign a contract yet till you've met me also? Would you say anything like that?
Yeah, you certainly could, and say, you know, listen, you could say, you know, I understand that you are meeting, you know, Joe from Keller Williams, you know, this afternoon, and, you know, absolutely, I would just love the opportunity, you know, just like a listing presentation, right? The sellers are going to meet with 4 different agents and choose the agent that's the best match for them. And so that's the same as far as a buyer's agent. Say, listen, I know that you have an appointment, you know, with this other agent to sit down and talk with them. I would love the opportunity to also talk with you about my services and how I can provide value to you before you make a decision as to who you want to work with. You know, that's the way that you can just, you know, ask for it. I mean, chances are, just like sometimes in listing presentations, you may have an appointment with somebody and they may call you back and say, oh, you know what? I know we had an appointment yet. I just signed the listing agreement with this first guy that came in. It was so compelling. I just felt like I just had to sign. And that's going to happen from time to time. Yet don't be afraid to ask for the appointment and say, you know, listen, you know, I understand that you are going to be sitting down and talking with somebody else. I would just also love that opportunity to grab 30 minutes of your time and talk about how we might be able to move forward together.
Thank you.
Now, you know, also too, they might say, you know, hey, I'm meeting Joe from Keller Williams, and he's actually showing me a house. I'm meeting him at the house, and he's showing me a house tomorrow. Right. So in that case, now, you know, Joe is showing him that house. So, you know, so in that case, you know, it's like, okay, listen, I understand that you are meeting with Joe. You know, in the event that, you know, I can sit down and talk with you before, if you haven't signed a buyer's agreement, I would love the opportunity to sit and work with you. I understand Joe's going to show you that property. So like in that case, it becomes like if they're already kind of committed to them, it becomes a little bit, you know, it just becomes like throws another little bit of layer on there. It's important to just make sure that you're not stepping on anybody's toes. And so I'll always make sure I say that and say, listen, I don't want to step on any other agent's toes at all. If you're committed to working with them, then I wish you the absolute best in your home search. However, if you are looking and talking to multiple agents to determine who is the best agent for you, I would love that opportunity to sit down and earn your trust.
Thank you.
Yeah, did you have another question, Trevor?
Yeah, the one thing that I've heard that this came up was, so let's say that this person was meeting another agent at the home.
Mm-hmm.
So now they have basically an express agreement, correct? And let's say I meet you a couple days later and I say, you know, I really like you. I feel like we have a good connection. I would like to sign an agreement for you to help me find my house. In the end, we decide the first one I looked at with the other agent is the one I want to buy. I've heard that you now cannot represent me on that home.
Yeah, and that's sticky. I mean, that's a question actually probably for an attorney as to what the actual, you know, as to what, like how you would deal with that. Personally, for me as an agent, and I have been in that situation where I have met somebody and they've already looked at a house with another agent. They're not working with them exclusively and they want to move forward and work with me. I will usually take that property off the table and say, listen, if you're going to go buy I understand that you saw 123 Main Street with Joe. And if that is the home that you are going to buy, then absolutely work with Joe through that transaction. If you're not going to buy that home and we can start looking at other homes, then absolutely we can work, but let's just take that one off the table if that's the home that you're going to purchase. And I usually would leave it that way, because also, I mean, for me, is that, we are, as agents in this community of realtors, it is of utmost importance that you don't want somebody coming back and saying, oh, Rhonda, like that was really sneaky. Like, you just don't want that reputation. So I will always just err on the side of caution and say, listen, I understand that you went and looked at that house with so-and-so. If that's the home that you're going to purchase, then by all means, please work through Joe. But we can start, if that's not the home and you want to start fresh, like I would love to be your agent and work with you exclusively to find you the right home.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I hope that answers
Yes, thank you.
Just to, I have a quick thing. Trevor, something that has been successful for me and the other agents on my team, not like going back to, having multiple agents essentially try out for the position, is just saying that, there's a lot of agents out there. Any agent can write an offer. That's what we go to school for our license and stuff like that. But, I'd love the opportunity to interview for the position. And then that puts the buyer or the seller in the mindset like, oh, I need to make sure that they're qualified. I need to make sure that they meet my qualifications and I can get along with them. So when you put it kind of like in that, like put them as like the CEO, the boss, and then using that language has been pretty successful for me and, like I said, the other agents on my team.
I like that. Thank you.
Love that, Courtney. That was awesome. I love the way that you stated that. That's awesome. Okay, anybody else? Anybody else want to give it a little whirl? Nobody? All right. So let's so here's like a quick and easy little script too that that all of us can use, and maybe in your 10 conversations today that you're going to go out there and you're going to do your lead generation today, you can use this script. And it's super simple. And basically what the script says is you can call people right out of your database. Call the folks that you know in your database. Make 10 calls today and call them and simply say this. Hey, Steve, this is Rhonda Messenborg, and I'm calling from Keller Williams. I hope you and your family are doing well. It's been, I don't know, 3 months since we spoke. I hope that you guys had a wonderful 4th of July. Listen, we're halfway through this year already, and my goal this year was to help 10 families buy, sell, or invest in real estate. And so I am just reaching out to everyone I know just to ask the question, are you looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate right now? Or do you know anybody that is? Because I would absolutely love to have a conversation about that. And see what they say. And they may say, oh, you know what, right now we're doing great. Nope, I'm all set. But you know what, my cousin actually was just telling me that she was just looking for a home in Massachusetts. I would love they may say, absolutely, we're actually not thinking of buying and selling, and I don't know anybody right now that is actually, oh, okay, listen, that's no problem at all. I really hope though, if somebody comes to mind, that you will just reach out to me and let me know. And do you mind if I just continue to check in on you from time to time to see if that anybody comes to mind that you might know that's buying, selling, or investing. So super, super simple. It's a script that it's like totally not scary to say. And it's just letting somebody know like, hey, you know what, this is my goal this year. This is what I'm committed to. And I'm just checking in to see if right now you're thinking of buying, selling, or investing, or maybe you know somebody that is. So what do you guys think of that script?
It's terrific. I like it a lot.
Super easy. It's not scary. And it's also a great way just to make sure that we are always staying in touch with our database. Our databases can be our most valuable asset as far as our lead generation goes, and just staying in touch with the people that we know, and just calling also and just checking in on them from time to time. Right? It's a great way to just get a touch in and just say, hey, I'm thinking about you. And by the way, right, sometimes like we put that own stuff on ourselves that like, oh God, I'm acting like a salesperson. Oh my gosh, they're going to kind of think like, oh my gosh, you know what, if they're right now thinking of buying or selling, and maybe for some reason they're, buyers and sellers, sometimes, it's like whatever's right in front of us, they just might not, like we kind of move really, really quickly. Right. And so maybe they did see something come up on one of their apps, one of their consumer apps, and they're like, oh my God, that house looks amazing. You know what? We're not really looking right now, but I just want to go to that open house on Saturday. Right. And then the next thing you know, you talk to them and they just bought a house and you're like, what? Right. It's because they got caught up in the moment. They went and they saw the house. The agent was there and there was 4 offers on the house already. Quick. And the agent's like, hey, I can write an offer for you right now. They're like not thinking of beyond that. Whereas if you just thought to reach out to them last week, then on Saturday when they saw it, they might be like, hey, you know what? Didn't Rhonda just ask us if we were thinking of buying? You know what? I'm going to give her a call and see if she can get us into that open house. So it's, sometimes it's not out of any, fault of the buyers or sellers, but, they're in the moment, they're kind of doing their thing. And sometimes you might not come top of mind when that moment comes. So if you are doing all you can to stay top of mind and to always be reaching out to them, the chances are that when they are thinking of doing it, that you're going to be the first person that comes to mind. And that is why, yes, Trevor.
No, finish what you're going to say first. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say that's why, especially, here at Keller Williams, we talk about the 36 touch, where we're staying in touch with our clients 36 times a year. And that is why. So that way you're always top of mind. Go ahead, Trevor.
Okay. When Sheena and I were practicing, she called me she heard that I wanted to sell.
Yep.
I told her during the conversation that she asked if I was working with anybody. And I said, not at the moment, but I did use the same realtor 3 transactions when I first bought my house, when I sold it, and when I bought my new home. And she's like, oh, okay. And I said, so I was just going to reach out to him again, but I hadn't yet. And she said, I'm not really sure how to answer that. And I said, well, I'm not exactly sure either, but I kind of said, how about probe? How long has it been since you last talked to him? And maybe say, well, I'm the kind of realtor that would normally would stay in touch with you on a constant basis, so that I'm always here for you. Because I had mentioned to her that, geez, I don't know if he's even in the area. It's been 14 years and I don't even know if he's a realtor anymore. How would you approach that right there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're talking to somebody and they say, yeah, you know what, Jim sends me listings from time to time, kind of keeps me on top of what's going on. But honestly, I haven't spoken to him in years. I'm not really sure if he's still in the business or not. Again, you always want to ask, do you have an exclusive agreement with them? And if they say, no, it's just, he just kind of casually sends me properties. I really haven't talked to him lately. Exactly what Courtney had said. Listen, I would love the opportunity, if you are serious about buying a home right now, I would love that opportunity to sit down and interview with you for that position of being your buyer's agent. And at the end of the day, I totally understand you have a relationship with Jim. I totally respect and understand that. However, if you are not under a contract with him and that position is still open, I would love to interview for that. And sit down and talk with you. So, I mean, that's what Courtney gave us. I mean, that's goal today is, if that position is not taken, then, I'd like to sit down and talk with you about it. And then kind of go from there. As a matter of fact, I went to Florida years and years ago. I don't remember when I was in Bonita Springs, Florida, but I had gone down, my husband and I went down to visit friends, and we stayed for the weekends. First time I've ever been there, last time I've ever been there. And when we were down there for the weekend, I kind of really liked the little area that they lived in. And, right, get the real estate bug, just what we're talking about. Next thing I know, I'm going to open houses with my girlfriend on Saturday and Sunday. And I'm like, I don't know, Tim, maybe we can get a second house down here in Bonita Springs. This is awesome. I ended up calling on a house off of realtor.com or whatever and met this agent down there, John. He ended up showing us 3 houses that day. When I tell you that was probably 10 years ago, I still get emails from John once a month on all the houses that are available in Bonita Springs. The guy stayed in touch with me. Now, does it mean that if I'm going to look for a house down there, am I going to definitely call John? He's never followed up with me. I'm definitely on some automated drip. I'm just getting emails from him. yeah, like sometimes that stuff happens, right? But I don't have I don't have a relationship with him. I've never spoken to him since. He's never done more than that. So, I mean, truth be told, if I ended up meeting an agent down there who works down in that area that I formed a relationship with, I'm probably going to talk to them about helping me find a home down there. So, you know, sometimes like that happens, and it's a good lesson for all of us. We put people on automated drips all the time. That's not enough. You have to stay in touch with them, and you have to nurture that relationship, and you have to be top of mind to them and make sure that you're just not sending automated things and then you never speak to them again. You know, check up on them once a month, send them a personalized email or a text message. Hey, I'm just checking in on you. I know I sent you 4 homes in this past month that came on the market in the area you are looking for. Just wanted to know, you know, have your needs changed? You know, is it still off in the distance? Are you, you know, I just want to check in on you and let you know that I'm here and I'm thinking about you on an active basis. I'm not just sending stuff to you. So it kind of goes both ways, right? It's also a good reminder that we have to take it one level further and just make sure that you're in communication with your contacts. Yeah. Okay, what else? Who else wants to do? Does anybody else want to do the script? This is good. Did it get a little easier? Who was completely like uncomfortable with doing the script and like, this is like probably the last thing I want to do after getting a root canal? Anybody? Okay.
Come on, you can be honest. We're not going to bite you. When I was given my first assignment to do scripts, I thought I was going to find a new profession after this.
I know, it's scary at first. Who did it a couple of times and thought, this is not so bad. I can do this.
I had a quick question actually about the right before we broke off into groups during the script thing. You mentioned that like you're doing a buyer script. You said something like, "Oh, I'm free to you. I'm free to the buyer agent," or something like that, right?
Yeah. So as a buyer, buyers typically do not pay commission. They do not have to pay a commission.
Well, the only reason I noted that our guy Tim Lindsay, he's like, buyer agents are not free. You're not free. When you tell people you're free, you're kind of making them think that, but they still pay for you on their transaction. They pay for that 2%. Otherwise, they could say, "Oh, well, I'm not working with an agent. I have 2% I can negotiate with." And also he tells us, and I told my group, I was like, "Hey, I don't know. I'm new as well. I'm wicked new, greener than anything." But he tells us, "Hey, you know, make them know that you provide value and you're not free, and that you should look for a retainer." Because then if I'm going out with an agent and I'm giving him $1,000 that I get as a credit at the end or whatever he's going to get back to me, I'm not going to be like, "Okay, take me to the most expensive house I can get into because I want to take a crap in a gold toilet when I get there." That's kind of, you know, what he says is like, don't go around with buyers and just kind of drive around with them or meet them places, because they'll end up going with someone else or going out solo at a house they got to look at with you. And that's just something I was like, I was like, is that, I don't know, just something he tells us like every time he talks to us, like, buyer agents are not free. It's like, don't say you're free. And they're like, don't discount your commission. Like, he's like, don't take less than, you know, like every new agent wants to say, "Hey, I'll do it for like 3% or whatever." He's like, "Yeah, but then what about in court when there's only, you know, $7,000 that we're fighting over, and you know the lawyer fees are $2,400 and stuff like that." So I was just curious about that.
Sorry, if anyone's using that retainer portion of like in the contract, I would love to know what their scripts are around that, because I know that not a lot of agents use it. But I think, you know, I'm a new agent, and as a buyer's agent, if I could tell people that, hey, yeah, my retainer is $600, but it comes out of your commission, I feel like it would make their buying process so much more serious. But I just haven't met anyone yet who also uses that. So I would love to hear more about that if anybody has anything, or, you know, Anthony, whatever. But yeah.
Well, I know from what Tim said, and I also agree with this, is just say, hey, when you go to get a lawyer, what's the first thing he asks you for? He asks for, you know, your information, whatever, and a retainer. Because he's not going to start, because we get paid after the fact kind of thing. So he's not going to start doing all this work with someone that's just going to say, hey, you know what, never mind. I'm just going to move to Mexico. I don't really care that much about the USA anyways. And, you know, they got cheap beer and all that stuff. So that's what I would say, is say, hey, you know, I have skin in the game when I start, you know, reaching out to people and setting up appointments and this and that. And, you know, if you're serious, the $1,000 is nothing. I mean, if you're a qualified buyer, you know, $1,000 isn't nothing, but it's something you should be able to let kind of sit with some guy for a little while. And, you know,
Right.
obviously stress to them that that's not going in my, you know, debit account. I'm going out buying something and hoping I can return it in time or whatever. That's something that's going to be like in a holding account, like an escrow, and it is credited towards the closing. And, you know, say, hey, it's what I offer all my clients. You know, it really separates the winners from the losers. And I can completely understand that it's not something that you hear if you've talked to other agents, but also, you know, the quality work that I'm going to provide to you warrants that. And that's just my policy. And most people, I think, will be like, oh yeah, because they want to show you that it's no big deal. That, oh yeah, $1,000. Oh yeah, I got it. I'm serious. Yeah. Oh yeah, no big deal. Because you know,
So
it's
so I'm going to let's address the question of talking about buyer's agent in the script as to whether how a buyer's agent gets paid. So it's not a matter of being free. It's all in how you say it, right? And typically there is no cost to a buyer from the transaction to have a buyer's agent. That's one of the advantages of a buyer having a buyer's agent. Now, all of us should be sitting down with buyers as part of that script. And when you are speaking to a buyer for the first time, what we are asking for in that conversation is the appointment, right? That's what we're always asking for. We're always asking for an appointment. And as you should be having a buyer consultation with all of your buyers, and you should be talking with them about signing an agreement with you to work with them exclusively. Because if you have that agreement, then that is going to stop somebody from running around and going to with 4 other agents or going to an open house on their own and putting an offer in with that listing agent. In the buyer's agreement, compensation is one of the areas that is going to be discussed in there. And that is why earlier I had said typically, right? Use words like typically, you know, a buyer does not have to pay the commission on the transaction. The seller pays the commission and the listing agent shares that commission with the buyer's agent typically. Now you're going to have that conversation with them because sometimes if you're in all of our MLS systems, I know we all have different MLS systems, but the system is going to tell you what commission is being paid out to the buyer's agent. Sometimes not all listing agents split 50-50, and not all listing agents offer more than like say 1% in the transaction. So as a buyer's agent, absolutely, you should determine what your value is because we do provide value and we provide a lot of value and you should get paid for it. We should all get paid for our value. So as part of that buyer's agreement, when you sit down with them, part of your script, right? Everything is a script. That's what we're talking about. So part of your script, when you get to the portion of what my fee is, it can be, you know, listen, typically the seller pays the full transaction of the full commission of the transaction and the listing agent is going to split it with me. My minimum payment is 2.5%, or my minimum payment is 3% of the transaction. So depending on what is going to be paid out, and we'll always know because it is always stated in MLS. So if my commission is 2%, then I'm going to ask you to pay the remainder of the commission up to 1%. And there's language for that. Actually, Jen Bovey has a great way that she puts it in her buyer's agreements. And I will, I'm going to ask her for it, and we're going to post it in the Facebook group. So that way that you guys have it for that portion, because she states it really, really eloquently. She states it that whatever that difference is, whatever is greater, 3% or the commission stated in the MLS, whatever is greater is I think how she states it. But you want to have that conversation with them. You may also, they may also want to look at a for sale by owner, and that for sale by owner may not be paying a commission to a buyer's agent. So you're going to want to know that up front. And you could say to your part of your script, listen, if you want to buy it for sale by owner, that's okay. I can represent you on that. I'm always going to ask first thing if they are going to pay a commission to a buyer's agent. And then we can have that conversation. But that's part of your script. That's part of your value proposition. It's part of your buyer's agreement. It's part of your buyer's consultation with them. However, it is typical that a buyer is not going to have to pay commission out of their pocket. Retainers and all that stuff, that's a different conversation. I mean, I don't do it. I don't really know a lot of agents that do it. Yet maybe, Tim's awesome. I love Tim. Maybe Tim can kind of put a group together, or he can kind of send something also out on the Facebook group if anybody has questions on that and want to talk to him about how he handles that.
Rhonda?
Yeah.
Hey, good morning. You know when your ears are burning and everybody says, oh, that's just a saying. Nope, my ears were on fire. So I'm like, I just finished a one-on-one. I come in and I feel like I'm watching TMZ and I was just caught in a nightclub with no pants. So I'm like, wow, I'm glad I showed up with my lawyer. Anyway, let me say this concerning that. First and foremost, Rhonda makes a great point and you guys are in great hands. And let me clarify some of what's been said in the last 17 and a half minutes. And again, we're in a 6-state conversation today, kids. There are 6 different contracts floating around the real estate universe based on our conversation. So please go back to your local leadership and go to your contracts classes. Let's pretend I said that 30 more times and write that down. Go to contracts. There is a line in the New Hampshire buyer's agency contract, and there's a line in a lot of our contracts that's already boilerplate for retainer. The reason I say that, and when I said that, I did make fun of Nathan Dickey, our fearless leader here at region number 17, that he claims that he got everybody in the universe to offer him a retainer. I think it was less than that. I don't have the actual math. The point is, that's a boilerplate thing that's in a lot of our contracts is to take a retainer. And as the disruptors, to Matthew Erdman's argument, as the disruptors continue to come into our environment, we need to get better at that. Because coming to a theater near us is going to be the opportunity soon where Rhonda, as the listing agent, is only worried about her 3 apples. There will not be 6 apples on Rhonda's table so she can share with me. So that was the point we've been making about grabbing a retainer and getting really good at getting your contract on the buyer side signed for 3%. And here's why that's important. If I let Rhonda and her family know that them signing this buyer's agency agreement and signing it for 3% allows me the opportunity to go and defend 3%. And if I run into 2.5 or 2 or 1.5, especially in this marketplace, I'm not going to keep that from getting my buyer into the house they're looking for. It also legally disallows me to ask for 3 if it's available. If I get into a conversation with Rhonda and she's got 6 apples on the table and my contract signed for, what is it, Rhonda? What's the famous language? Per MLS? That is terrible, right? We want a real number there. And if, to Rhonda's language, typically great agents on the Seacoast are taking listings for 6 apples, I want the opportunity to argue for 3. And that's why it's important to get that number there. The semantics behind my language that we are not free is defending our value. And above and beyond that, to Rhonda's point, the check the buyer hands to the title company has the money in it that will eventually pay Rhonda, the listing agent, and Tim, the buyer's agent. So, but beneath layers of frosting and semantics, they are paying for us, not directly and not above and beyond the transaction itself. But let's be clear about the fact that I think if you're at my market center, I don't like the word free. I think the floating box on your listing, on your agent website, Rhonda, how many agents do you have that have a floating box that says, would you like a free CMA? Mm-hmm. That's like wearing a t-shirt at the bar that says, buy me a drink, I'm cheap and easy. Like, just don't do it. It's not a great way to set up your relationship with your future client. I'm wicked expensive. I will take half of the divorce, sign here, press hard, 5 copies, right? So I hope I clarified most of that. I appreciate Anthony's vigor in defending what I said. Just make sure that you guys understand we are not free, and that's where I was coming from. And we don't have I don't legally and integrity have the ability to talk to Rhonda about her supporting my 3% if I legally don't have that document signed for 3%. That's where I'm coming from. And we are not free. Defend your wall of value. And if you don't know what your wall of value is, there's 15 more sessions. Welcome to Ignite.
Tim, you're awesome, and thank you. And that is it's such a great reminder for all of us. You have value and absolutely defend it. Absolutely.
I have
Yeah.
another question. Oh, sorry. I saw Trevor's hand was in the air.
Oh,
You
go
can go
ahead.
first, Trevor. Oh, okay. So if the contract says, so Timothy is saying to get rid of the per MLS, and I always have put, that's just what we're taught is to put, I don't know, I think it's like 3% or per MLS, like on that contract. And then, because then it says whichever is greater. So you're at least getting the 3%. But if the buyer has to contribute a percentage, where does that get worked in? Because the one time I had that conversation with a client, because I knew they could afford it and they agreed to it, I missed it because I didn't put it in somewhere where I should have put it in. And the mortgage, the lender was like, no, like this is his loan is for this much. We're not giving him any more. So is that supposed to be like a personal check? Because I thought you weren't supposed to have personal checks at closing. Like, where does that come in?
Again, we're talking about 6 different states. So head back to your leadership to answer all these questions at the local level. If I had a buyer that was going to agree to support my 3% and the contract we have with the seller and the listing agent is for 2.5%, the absent 0.5% would be explained to the title company as a debit to the buyer toward the transaction. And that's about having it. And you have to raise your hand and tell that story because it is such a rarity, especially in this environment right now, that a buyer would be making up the 0.5%. And let's be careful with that too. We want to be really good. I can hear Nathan Dickey saying it. We want to be really good at the variable commission conversation right now, because we have to be able to defend ourselves against all the disruptors that are coming in. If you do have a buyer making up a missing percentage point or 0.5 point or whatever the case may be, you've got to reach out to the title company and make sure that that's clear with them, because they rarely see that, because people are rarely having honest conversations with their buyers. Now, on the other side of that coin, I'm sure Rhonda would agree with me, we do not want to be shoving our 0.5% or missing percent. I don't want to be stepping over dollars to pick up dimes. I would rather say, you know what? I appreciate that this is at 2.5%. I appreciate that you signed an agreement for 3%. In lieu of the missing 0.5%, I'm excited to get you guys into this home, and I want you to send me every loved one between now and the end of time for the rest of my career.
And that was definitely the conversation that was had. It was, my goal is what the verbiage I use is this, my goal is 3%. So if in the event that, it'll be a different conversation. It'll be another conversation. We don't have to worry about this at this moment. That time came and they said, hey, I remember you, they brought it up. I remember you said this. We have no problem providing that extra 0.5%. You rock. Let's do it. But I had already written the offer and I had missed the boat. So yeah, but thank you.
Yeah, we just want to be hyper clear with that. Because again, the other side of that coin too is if we get audited and my contract was for 2.5 because I wrote 2.5, or I wrote per MLS and it was 2.5 and I got paid more than that, that's a no-no.
That's a good point.
We want to be super clear about our 6-state conversation that we're having here today, kids, and making sure that we're playing by the rules. That's the challenge of Region 17. It's like 6 states in New England, Puerto Rico, and Guam. So we got to be really careful about. And if you're licensed, and we've got some agents here that are licensed in 3 states. I see a few of them on this call right now. Talk about confusing. So be a student of the industry, be a student of your contracts, and defend your value. I'm sorry, Rhonda, I'll shut up now.
No way. I love this.
Thank you for having me in my burning ears.
Thanks, Tim.
I thought it was awesome when there you were. Love that.
Yeah, they conjured me up like Darth Vader. Yeah.
What's your question, Trevor?
Okay, mine's kind of a 2-part. So when you're meeting with buyers and you mentioned that you work for 3%, do you instruct them that in many cases the selling broker may not give that much, but that you always call them and try to fight that out with them first so that you don't have to pay? Do you mention anything like that? And do you do that?
Yes, I will. I mean, I will typically, if there's a super low commission that's being offered out to the buyer's agent, I typically will write it in the contract. It depends on, it depends on the situation. And that's why it's important in that buyer's consultation is to sit down and have that conversation with your buyer. So that way they fully understand. And it's not something that's like all of a sudden you're kind of throwing on them at the last minute. And, but yes, you can put it into the contract that the seller agrees to pay the buyer's agent a commission of 3%. Say they're only offering 1%, right? You can put it in there. Now, in this crazy market here with the way things are going, sometimes that's not at the best interest of your buyer, because if there's 12 offers on the property and you're asking the seller for additional money for your commission, then that may prevent them from choosing your offer. So you have to think of this market right now is kind of crazy. So you have to also have that conversation with your buyer and say, listen, in a typical market, I may go back if we're putting in an offer one-on-one, I may go back and ask for for them to pay a full 3%. However, with this market, there's already multiple offers on this property. And so that actually may push our offer down in the pile as far as being attractive to the seller. So if this home is important to you, let's talk about you putting in the additional dollars into to pay my commission. Right, and have that conversation with them and let them make that decision. There was a house that I actually, one of my buyers wanted to take a look at it. It was a new construction home, and the house was, I think it was listed at like 400,000. Literally the buyer's commission was like $500. It was just something like that. I was like, what? And so I had to have that conversation. I had to go back to my buyer and say, remember, we talked about this, and I want to show you this home if this is a home that you want to see, but we do need to talk about, and I called the listing agent and said, is this what they're paying out? Yep. And I said to her, listen, I will still write it in the contract. I will still go ahead and write it in the contract. However, in the event that the seller is not willing to do that, then we need to have this conversation. And my buyer said, you know what? That house isn't that important to us. And so we're gonna move on. But you have to be comfortable having that conversation. And I think that's a lot of what Tim is guiding us on here, is that be comfortable talking to your buyers about your value and about the fact that you deserve to be paid for your services. And if you can get comfortable with that, then it is just going to become second nature, and it is just like anybody else. You deserve to be paid. And Tim's right. Your services are not free. Is that helpful?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, sure. All right. Does anybody else? Any other questions along this realm? Back to scripts. How are you guys feeling about scripts? Are you guys going to go out and use the script that I gave you just a little bit ago? Let's see what time. It's 11:07 right now. How's everybody feeling about it? If I put us on,
I'll use the script. I'll use scripts. I may tweak it a little bit,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'll use it.
How do you feel about the script I just gave to you guys a little bit ago, David?
I like it.
Yeah? Simple, right?
Yeah, simple is good.
Okay. How about this challenge? How about if we go on mute for the next, let's say, 20 minutes? Let's see, it's 11:08. How about if we go on not a break, but we go on mute for, say, how about if we do it till 11:45? We end at 12. That way it gives you a couple of minutes. I haven't given us a break yet today. That way if you need to go fill your water or something, you guys can go do that. And then I want you to spend at least 20 minutes just reaching out to your database and using the script that I gave you earlier. Okay. And basically it was a script of calling people that call people that that you know and say, hey, David, it's Rhonda Messenborg calling from Keller Williams. It's been about 2 months since we've spoken, or it's been a year since we've spoken. How are you? How is your family? I hope you guys are enjoying the summer so far. Listen, we are halfway through the year, and I made a commitment to help 15 families this year buy, sell, or invest in real estate. And I'm just calling the people I know, and I'm just asking the question, are you thinking of buying, selling, or investing in real estate at this time? And, or do you know anybody that is? Because I would absolutely love to talk with them. That's it, right? That's the script. And so I would love for you guys to spend at least 20 minutes. I'll give you guys like, go do your break really quick, and then promise me that you're going to spend 20 minutes and you're going to call in that 20 minutes. You might only get a couple of calls in. I'm just going to break it in easy here, right? So I'm not going to say like, you got to go spend the next 2 hours making phone calls. 20 minutes. Go make a couple of phone calls, see how it feels. And then I want us to come back here at 11:45. Promise me you'll come back. And I just want to hear how it went. And if you were like, oh my God, it was so hard for me, let's talk about it. And if you said, you know what, my first phone call was a little, my second one felt a little better, my third one was okay. Like, that's all I want, is just to kind of like, let's dip our toes in today, and let's just kind of get in the realm of using scripts and just being comfortable with them. How does that sound? I know I don't see a lot of you don't have your cameras on, but for those that do, yeah, thumbs up. Okay. All right, let's.
And to make it a little easier, I dropped in the chat 3 pages of scripts that you can open up and read or download and print out if you'd like.
Okay, perfect. All right, good. All right, so let's go to it. So you can just mute yourself. You can turn your camera off if you want, whatever you want to do, but promise me you're going to be back at 11:45. Yeah? Girl Scouts honor. I don't know if that's how it
Could be
goes.
cake. You have to promise cake, Rhonda.
Okay. Okay, I have to promise cake.
Yeah, just tell them there'll be cake if they come back.
Tim's gonna have cake for you if you'll come back.
As far as they know. Yes, we'll definitely have cake.
All right, guys, let's do it. I'll see you at 11:45.
Rhonda, are you still on this?
I think she's off making cake.
Who am I? Are you an agent or are you
This
a
is Tim
manager?
Lindsay, productivity coach for Market Center 463. How can I help?
Oh, okay. Well, I liked her. She came up with a script about calling past contacts and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I wonder, is that an actual script or did she just make it up? Because I would like to be able to find that one so I could use it.
Yeah, well, if you can grab a sharp crayon, I can do it slowly. I think I have the gist of what she was doing.
Okay, hang on. Let me get my pen. If you hear noise in the background, I'm at my other job. So
That's fine. We're gonna get you scripted up so you can leave that other job.
That's right.
Come over here and play with
Although
us.
That's right. Although I'm a merchandiser at Walmart, and so there's
Oh.
lots of opportunities here. So, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, so here's my guess, and I think I caught her on the way out with this. It's ironic she's talking about this today because I would come back from the 4th of July with this. This is the script I would use if I'm calling my Mets. I think she was talking about a Mets script, right? So
People that are in your database that you haven't talked to in a while, just
but
reaching out to them.
people that are known to you, Mets as opposed
Right.
to
Oh yeah. Exactly.
So if I'm calling, I'll pick on Trevor since he's got his headset on and he's flying his plane. If I'm calling Trevor, I haven't talked to Trevor in a bit, right? The reason I'm going to use this script at the break is because I can create the commonality with these people too. Rhonda's back. She can do her script if she's back. I'll throw it back to her. So if I can immediately create a commonality with other people, this is huge too. So if I get a hold of you, what's your name?
Rebecca.
So if I call and I say, hey, Rebecca, it's Tim. I'm sorry it's been so long. I'm glad I got a hold of you. How was your 4th of July? I'm going to lead right in with how was your 4th of July?
Right.
And this is where on the forward script, I can go right to recreation, right? How was your 4th? What did you guys do? And you talk about you went to the beach and it snowed all weekend, so you didn't do anything. We're eventually going to get to the point where we're talking about getting back to work. And when you ask me about work, if we've been in relationship enough that you know that I'm a KW, like, I'm really glad you asked. You know what? Before we stepped away for the 4th, I had a meeting with my team or I had a meeting with my coach. And if you don't have a team or a coach, you had a meeting with your cat, right? I had a meeting with my team or with my coach. And based on our goals for the year and the families or the loved ones we've been able to help so far, this is where Rhonda's script, and I think we're on the same page.
Yep.
We're looking to help 38 more families. Who do you know that we should know, or who do you know that we can help? And she went far more direct with buy, seller, invest. I've always liked the who do you know that I should know, or who do you know that we can help, because that lets me peel the onion. And most educated, inquisitive people are going to ask, well, what do you mean by that, Rhonda? Right?
Okay, so wait, can I interrupt you?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Sorry. So
Walmart's going to pick up on aisle 7. I love that we're doing this. Go ahead. Yeah. Oh, did I lose you?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you did lose me. I'm here.
Go ahead.
You got me? Okay.
Yep.
So when you say I want to help 38 more families,
Yeah.
and then can you slowly say again what you said about who you think I should know, or what was that?
Yeah, this is the way I put it. And the reason I put it this way, if I can start to break down and make it less transactional, and for lack of a better term, because here's the thing, if anybody in this room is taken bold, one of the laws is logic makes us think, emotion makes us act. So if I can start to reduce the transactionality of the conversation and start to create more emotionality around it, right? So if I can romanticize what we do for a living, which we fail to do, we make it very transactional. Hey, Tim, do you know anybody I can hoodwink for some money this week? Like, if we can get it away from that and remind them of what we've done this year so far, in 2021, me and my team were setting out to help 72 families. As of halftime, because here we are July 1st, we have 38 more families to help. Or you can talk about the greatness of your team. We've superseded our goals. And we know now, based on the tools and the talent that I have in place on my team, we are set to help 40 more families. So who do you know that I should know?
I like that.
Who do you know that we can help?
Okay, go slow. Wait. Who do you know that I should know. Okay, and what was the other one you just said?
Or who do you know that we can help or we can serve? And this is where it's important for you to remember, and I have a lot of food analogies. That's why we just talked about cake, right? The BLT of real estate, buyers, listings, and talent. But I'm going to put listings first because I always want you guys to put listings first. So who do you know that we should know? Who do you know that we can help? Well, what do you mean by that, Tim? Glad you asked. We're looking for listings for our buyers for our listings, and talent for our team. Because if you think, if you sit there and Scooby-Doo me and you're like, well, I don't know, everybody's looking to list or buy. Although my uncle Ted or my cousin Jerry was thinking about getting into real estate, could he talk to you about the opportunity? Can he talk to you about the opportunity? That's where you say yes, right?
Yeah.
Because even if it's just you and your cat and a cup of coffee and you're not building Lindsay Productions yet, you're building passive income through your growth tree.
Right.
And you have a conversation with them, you get them into real estate class, then you introduce them to Rhonda Messenberg and she signs them. And then she says to them, who is procuring cause for you to explore the opportunity at Keller Williams.
Right.
And you're like, oh my God, it was Tim Lindsay. He's awesome. There was cake. Right.
Yeah.
And they sign you as procuring cause. Now you're their sponsor and you build passive income. So there's always an opportunity for financial growth on every call.
Right. Exactly.
Now to create the commonality, if you go back to the 4th of July conversation real quick again and just say, hey, I'm really glad you asked. I know that you and I both are planners, and part of my, like, I'm going to bring you into the conversation by making you one of me. People want to feel part of a group, you know?
Okay. Well, okay. Can I interrupt you for a second?
Sure,
Because I got to be honest. I'm one of those people that has to be very honest about myself and what my personality and stuff like that is, because it's too, I can't cheat because it's just too obvious. So I am not a planner. So I can't really put that in. So what would be another, you know?
Do you set big goals? Tell me more about you.
I have trouble with that.
You
I
love
do.
your family?
I do.
Do you want to create security for your family?
Yes, I do.
So do you want your family to succeed?
Yes.
Yeah. So, hey, you know what, Tim? I know you and I feel the same way about our families and their future. Who do you know that's like us that is thinking about building passive income through investment in real estate?
Well, that's awesome.
Maybe it's them, right?
Right.
And maybe it's them. Because you're like, oh, she included me in a conversation that I'd like to be a part of, but I'm not yet.
Okay, so you said, I know you and I both feel the same way about our families. Okay, what was the thing after that about that person?
So who
we're the same, or
who do you know that is like us?
Oh, that's right. Who do you
that
know
wants to build financial security through passive income with real estate investment? And that's a mouthful. You'll get better at saying it when you keep saying it. Everyone on this call with a limiting belief that this script doesn't sound like me, Tim, it's because you haven't said it enough.
Right.
Right.
So, okay, hang on. I'm just going back because I don't write very fast. I know both you and I feel the same way about our families. Who do you know that is like us who wants to make passive income? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Create passive income or just create
income,
create financial security through real estate investment. Well, I'd love to do that, but I feel like there's nothing available. Well, what are you looking for? Right. And Rhonda knows this. You guys all know this. I think 4,000% of the buyers you're going to work with in the next 6 months as we finish out this year are going to buy something that already is built.
Right.
Very few of your home buyers, first-time home buyers or investors are going to build something stick-built foundation up.
Right.
Well, yeah, but there's no inventory, Tim. There's inventory at the end of every driveway, not the mailbox end, the other end. When you left your house to drive to your office that you're sitting at today, or you're at Waldale's, right? On your way into work, every street you went down, every driveway had what at the other end of it? Not the mailbox, the other end, a house. There's inventory everywhere. This is a perfect example. You work at Walmart. How many fellow employees right now are facing shelves at Walmart?
I wouldn't have a clue in the world.
And do you know what I mean when I say facing?
Yeah, there's so many. Yeah.
Of course you do. Of course you do. Now, if anybody has never worked in retail, facing a shelf is what you see people do when you're walking down the aisle. And there's some kid on their tippy toes pulling all the macaroni and cheese to the edge of the shelf.
Correct.
We have all
that
the
would
inventory.
Be me.
we need to face our inventory in our industry. We have to bring homes to market. That's our job. And we're not having these conversations enough right? I don't think anybody on this call, I think Rhonda agrees. I think most of you will agree. Nobody on this call is having a conversion issue. I think everyone on this call might be having some conversation issues.
Can I interrupt you? And I'm sorry, is it Rebecca who's talking? Because you're showing up as Trevor, but I think you said.
No, I'm Rebecca.
Yeah, so.
We're in the same office, but I'm obviously not in the office right now.
Trevor's got a huge ego. It takes 2 accounts to get him online, but he's letting her borrow one.
I just wanted to ask you to back up a second too, because you said every call is an opportunity for a listing, a buyer, someone who wants to invest in real estate. And can you reword what you said about what you said about possibly getting other people on your team?
Yeah, just building passive income for yourself and your family through having people join the real estate industry.
Okay, same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're actually right into it right now. I think without fail, I think the 3rd and 4th quarter of this year, and we're in the 3rd quarter now, right? I think in the next 2 quarters of this year, you're going to see a lot of employment transition. I think a lot of people, if you watch The Wizard of Oz, that scene where she kicks the door open and it's all in Technicolor all of a sudden, people are like, everybody's rubbing their eyes and sort of people are coming out, they're vaccinated. We're hanging out together again. And I think people are realizing, and I think we did a good job here. And I can certainly applaud Nathan Dickey at our Market Center 463. I think a lot of people were very happy to hold on to their job at Liberty Mutual. And I'm not picking on any company in particular. I'm just going to use Liberty Mutual because I feel like 4,000% of New Hampshire works at Liberty Mutual. I think a lot of people are very happy that they held on to their job, even if they were furloughed or sent home or worked every other week. They're very happy to get through the storm of COVID with employment and with some financial security. I think now people are realizing, and this is important, in the absence of me being in the hallways and my boss being able to poke his or her head in, how was I treated? And I think a lot of people are reconsidering the opportunity of real estate or just their opportunity of other employment and ask yourself, why did you join real estate?
Yeah, I will comment just because I hear a lot of it and I've gone through it too with the job. I'm a merchandiser, so I don't actually work for Walmart. But what most retailers and other, I know businesses from talking to other people have piled more work on. You're lucky. They have the mindset of you're lucky to have a job. So shut up. I'm not going to give you any more money and just do everybody else's job that we didn't rehire for. And so I think people are probably, I agree with you 100%. And I didn't think of it that way, but people are sick of it.
Yep. So who do you know that wants to buy, sell, invest, or join the industry? I never thought of that. Can I join real estate? I mean, I remember when Nathan said to me, you should get your license. Like, do people just do that? Like it's in this little plastic packet at the bottom of the Cracker Jacks. Like I had no idea what that meant. I'm like, what? Yet here I am, right? And July 1st for me was 11 years at this Market Center, 7 years as a coach.
Excellent. Tell me your name one more time and what office you're from, if you don't mind.
Timothy Lindsay. Unless you don't like what I'm saying, then it's Nathan.
I love what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right. And
if you're unhappy with my comments, it's Nathan W. Dickey.
And what Market Center are you with?
463, which is where our Market Center is Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And we have licensed agents in Massachusetts and Maine as well. And we've got brick and mortar throughout New Hampshire and Maine.
Excellent. Well, Tim, I greatly appreciate your help, and Rhonda, you as well. Thank you so much.
And I just want to say, I like my new voice.
Yeah. Trevor's got a voice simulator for when he's calling different clients. I don't know if I want to be a gruff guy. I'm going to be Stacy today.
That's awesome. This is good stuff. I love this. I love it. This is one thing I love about Ignite is like the conversation just always kind of blossoms. And I just feel like we always just get to cover some really cool things. That's why it's always cool to take Ignite more than once as well, because you always, every session, even though it's the same content, it ends up being completely different because the instructors are typically different. So you get different stuff every time.
Yeah, this is my second time. I took it in Portland, Oregon. I'm an agent out there as well, but I moved to Massachusetts.
Oh, cool. Very cool. Welcome to New England.
Thank you very much. I'm actually from here, but a long time ago.
Cool. Very cool.
I took the 1.0. 2.0 is much better.
Ignite Classic. Yeah, we had it in 33 and 45 format.
I thought it was 78.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. I had that on 8-track. Yeah. Well, the important thing to remember, and we talk about this all the time, and Rhonda can attest to this. Gary's mindset behind this class is you are in this class. This is designed for everyone who has conducted 16 or fewer transactions in the last 12 months. So if you're part of that group, congratulations, you're in the right space. Once you've eclipsed that, and at our market center, just based on our company average here at 463, capping status is about 10 transactions. And when you get to capper status is when we would start to ask you at that point, like, hey, you've obviously cut your teeth. We'd love to have you instruct. So the fact that you've got leadership and coaches and TLs and cappers and ALC members from all over New England teaching you guys today and for the next 15 sessions, you should always be in this room. It just, depending on where your head is at, depends on what side of the table you'd be sitting on and whether you're teaching or learning or both, right? Because Matt Erdman, our regional operating principal, is coming in to do agent financials at the end of the month. If your face is not busy that day, it should be in this room because he's a genius when it comes to all things, and certainly investment and finances. No one should be too busy for that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And if you're not feeling good and you think you might be at your own wake, push it out 2 days and still make it to that class.
So when is that again?
Agent financials is probably the third to last session. So I'm thinking 24, 25, 26, 27, like the 25th.
Oh, this
Look on the
is
calendar.
Ignite then. It's still Ignite then, right?
It is Ignite. It's
okay, good. Okay, I thought it was a different thing altogether.
Yeah, it's like session 7 of part 2. So this is Spark, and second half is Elementals.
It's Monday, March 26th is the financials class.
Thank you, sir. Yep.
That's great. Yeah, it's it is a really great series.
I don't think it's in March, the class.
July.
March is gone by.
Wrong calendar. But anyway, we'll find the date. We'll get it in there. Just come to all of them. We should just move them around, Rhonda. When's Matt Erdman teaching? We're not sure. You better be here tomorrow. You got Erdman and cake. What do you know?
Exactly. Well, we almost did the value proposition today because I somehow messed up the days. So I was all set to do value proposition today when I jumped on this morning. Thank God I had Steve here to say, back it up there, sister.
Well, I was trying to give you hand signals to say back up, but you weren't catching them. Finally, I had to open my mouth and say stop.
I don't know. I thought I was on the right day.
Well, you recovered extremely well.
I just go with it. Just go with it. I know I gave us a lot of time, so I hope so we can just kind of get the conversation started here. And I know I asked everybody to be back by 11:45, and everybody can trickle back. So who's been making some calls while we took our break? Oh, David, Chris,
Yeah,
awesome.
here.
So how'd it go? Tell us.
The first call I made is to a friend who said this wasn't a good time to talk because he was on his boat in Southwest Harbor, Mount Scissors Island, Acadia National Park area, and that he would be back next week and let's chat then.
Awesome.
So that was good. The second call was to another friend. I guess I shouldn't be part of it. Have so many friends that are boating, but they were doing the same thing. However, the third call, I said, obviously I'll go to a different group. I went to an individual who's interested in investing and talked to him, and he's still interested. He hasn't done anything yet. And, but he would like to get together and talk, but he didn't have his calendar near him or anything. So he said, call me back tomorrow.
Excellent.
So.
Excellent. Put a note in your calendar and absolutely.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, it's already in the calendar.
Awesome. That's great. That's great. And how did it feel? How did the script feel to you, David?
It was fine. Talking to the investor, it was a different because I've been working with him for over a year,
Mhm.
but he hasn't pulled the trigger because hasn't really defined what he wants. At first was, I want a single family home and a vacation place that I can go use it, and then I'll rent it out when I'm not using it. Now he's changing his mind, and he's probably gonna go for a multifamily.
Okay, awesome. That's great. Good job. Okay,
Thank
who
you.
else? Who else made some calls and wants to share your experience? Trevor.
Well, I didn't make one today. I'm sorry because I got trapped there with Tim's and Rebecca's call, and Trevor number 2. But I've been making a lot of calls in the last month. I kind of started with family and I was banging my head against the wall. So I switched up to old clients from my prior business. And I've had a lot of good conversations, but I will say this. So let's say I've made 200 now. Every time I go to make one, I'm nervous, even after that many, even though most of them have been really good calls. So if some of us, it might take a while to get over that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And what, I mean, I think that, it's as a natural human reaction that, everybody has that fear of rejection or has that fear that, that you're bothering somebody, that you don't want to be, come across as too salesy, right? There's a whole bunch of reasons where that, for those of you who have taken Bold, or those of you who have not taken Bold yet, absolutely look into taking Bold. It is absolutely, it's an amazing, another one of Keller Williams' amazing courses. It is about mindset, habits, and getting yourself in the habit of the activities that are going to move your business forward. And in Bold, we talk about the drunk monkey who sits on your shoulder and kind of talks in your ear, and comes from that fear-based, that makes us go, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. It's such a natural thing. Yet if you remind yourself that, you are truly reaching out to help somebody. And I love what Tim said in his, when we were just talking, and he said, who should we know? Who can we help, or who can we serve? And I just love that. I wrote that down because who can we serve? That is what we do as realtors, in my opinion, is we serve our clients. And when you come from that place, when you're making the call, you're just reaching out because you genuinely want to help somebody. It absolutely just kind of calms your heart down a little bit and kind of calms your mind down a little bit, that you're just calling to really just have a conversation with somebody and see how you can help them. So, but that is completely it's a natural reaction for all of us.
Well, I think Rhonda too, David raised his hand. And David, I was going to say to you, first of all, David should go. And David, your friends with boats have discretionary income. So
Oh, yes.
keep them close,
lot.
brother. Keep them close. Yes.
No, way back before I was diagnosed with an illness that I'm finally recovered from, I took Bold. Has it changed from about 3 years ago?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because I found we'll call it Bold 1.0.
Bold Classic,
kind of be like middle school. It's kind of immature. That's
Why
all.
you didn't like getting up and dancing and chanting at the tables all day?
Sounds perfect for me.
Well, let me say this concerning that, David, and I think Rhonda will agree. It may have seemed very elementary before. What Gary has done is pushed it back towards the one thing and shift and the red book, right? Back to the systems and the models that we're built on. So I think where some people might feel, and you know what, I'm a high I. Like, I will be the star on the drink all day. And clearly I like to talk. Welcome to my face. I apologize for the rest of our relationship, right? And I also do not love, I did not adore standing up and screaming, I'm a great salesperson, and then Chuck Norrising each other in the face. Like, that wasn't my jammy jam. And I also knew below all that, the brass tacks of what that class was doing was building in affirmations. What I can tell you, David, is if you revisit Bold 2.0 or Whatever we're calling it now, because we've gone from the Bold 2.0 brick and mortar to Bold digital to Bold local. There's no wrong version of it, but for sure it has been updated. And I think he's cut through a lot of the stuff, and we've gotten right back to, you'll see strong reference points to Millionaire Real Estate Agent Shift and the one thing, which is really, those are the three legs of the stool that we stand on, right? For sure.
Absolutely.
And for those of you that don't like making phone calls and you want to learn how to get over that apprehension, do something called the Bold 100. You make 100 contacts, and that's actual conversations with people in one day. I did it, and I started calling people at 8:30 in the morning. And at 6:30 that night, I had one person left that I hadn't spoken with, and she happened to be a Remax agent. And I had 99 completed contacts done. I called her, told her what I was doing. She gave me a lead.
That's amazing.
It was like, I've known this woman for like 20 years, and she's like, oh my God, I can't believe you did all that work. My sister wants to buy a house in Matunic. Can you help her?
Yeah.
And I'm like, thank you very much. Called her up. and after that, it was like, oh, you need to make phone calls? Give me a chair I can sit in and a pad I can scribble some notes on, and let's go to work.
Awesome.
Well, Steve makes a great point. It's about conversations, not about the calls, right?
Yep.
Like, we're never going to ask you guys how many calls you made. It's about the conversations you had. How many appointments you just said is really the most important thing. And to Steve's point, what a lot of people have been doing in Bold as of late, which might be something to consider, is doing a reverse Bold 100. One of our agents at our market center did give me a ring for a ring. And she posted that on this day, when you call her, because she'll take down all your contact information, give me a call, I'll take your contact information, and somebody today is going to win a full ring system for their house. And she gave away like the doorbells and like a security system, but it was give me a ring for a ring, a reverse Bold 100. You ask them to contact you. You're still having the conversation. You're still grabbing what's really most important of the 4 contact information points, right? I want to make sure I have David Elliott. I have his phone number. I have David at leavemealone.com, and I have his physical address, right? Because that's what we need right now in command to make command really work at a high level.
Awesome. I love that. Hope everybody wrote that down. That's a great little tidbit right there. That's awesome. All right. So anybody else want to share how their calls went? Anybody want to talk through maybe some of the struggles or the challenges or the opportunities that you have with making calls, so that we can talk you through and help you?
One thing I wanted to share, I didn't make a phone call just because I'm on a couple Zooms right now and I got too much stuff going on. But one thing I do, because I was kind of like, I'm okay on the phones. I'm obnoxious, and I'm not really worried about the whole rejection thing, but I want to, being a younger guy, I want to sound like, okay, he doesn't know absolutely nothing. He knows, what he knows. He knows a little something, whatever, and not just get the hang up instantly. So what I do when I'm killing time, and it seems so stupid, I call anybody, everybody, but mostly like business people or like businesses, random places. And I do that just to see, and basically I'll go in there with like nothing. I'll just say, hey, how's it going? And let them kind of lead, and then put in who I am, and then see where that goes, and this and that. And yeah, I haven't been doing it much this week just because it's been getting away from me a little bit. But I do that because I'm like, they're in business, they're not going to judge you as much, and it's basically like, it's basically like there's no real repercussion. I mean, obviously there's still humans answering the phone line, but if you call, like I called this one, and it was so weird. It was like a gravestone. It's like in the newspaper. It was like a headstone company or something. I was like, hey, how's it going? I'm a real estate agent. I'm just, calling my local network, people that work around me, and looking to build those relationships. And they're like, yeah, we make gravestones. I'm like, yeah, well, hey, I'm sure you deal with a lot of people that may be thinking about real estate, and just working on what I like, saying stuff to other humans and seeing how they react. Because more than just even the real estate thing, just seeing like, working on the whole like spiel. Like when you see Tim talk, I can listen to Tim talk all day long, and like all the phrases, I'm like, okay, wow. And that's my thought. I'm like, okay, I need to practice talking to people that kind of, I don't want to say don't matter, but they're not like, hey, sir, your listing expired. I would love to take a whack at it. That kind of person, you know? Just a little thought for people to get on the phone without having the whole, like, oh my God, I called a client that I could have got or whatever.
Well, to Anthony's point, because Gary would say this all day, if we are going to, and I think he's espoused this several times, Rhonda, we consider ourselves a teaching hospital at Keller Williams. And at a teaching hospital, you don't practice on your loved ones, you practice on cadavers. And not to dehumanize the calls that you're making. To Anthony's point, if I can call business people and start to build my allied resource conversations, that's great. Like if I call a graveyard, like I know how business is going for them, they're killing it clearly. That aside, they might, you know, I'm not like calling to find out if anybody has a trust laying around. Although if I'm calling business people to build my allied resources, that's great. Because a thing we need to focus on, and people have been talking about this a lot lately, and I want this to sink in. I think we misuse the term, Rhonda, sphere of influence. Because I can have a ton of people I know, none of them are influential, right? Like that's not helpful at all. I got a bunch of friends who sit home and talk to their cat. Cool. They're not really out in the universe, like affecting change for other humans. I need a sphere, and I need to build my sphere of influence within that sphere. So I have all the people in my life. Some of them don't talk to people, right? My sister Stephanie is like a high C followed by her C, followed by she hates people, right? My sister Stephanie is never going to give me a piece of business. My sister Jennifer is like me on Pez and crack and Kool-Aid. Like that's like, she's next level. Like she only stops to talk to let you think that you have something to say, but she starts talking again, right? So you need an equal balance of both. And you don't want to disenfranchise yourself from people that aren't going to procure business for you. You just want to make sure you are building a sphere, a true sphere of influence,
Right.
not just calling your sphere influential if they're not, right? So that's why you'll hear Gary talk about this. Do you have your top 100 people that you're checking in with on a regular basis and the top 100 people you want to be in business with? So to Anthony's point, are you meeting the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker in the town that you want to take over? Do they know who you are? So when they trip over transactions, they can send them your way. Super important, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I have a quick something, and thank you for everyone who's speaking, who has spoken so far. But I talked about this a little bit in our breakout groups, but I'm super new. I don't even have my license yet. It's like pending. And I'm imagining that you'll probably tell me that this is a limiting belief, but in my head, when I'm thinking about making calls, I already have 150 people on my list. I'm not in command yet, but I started my list. So, but I also feel like we don't talk to each other so much anymore. As sad as that sounds, I think there's so much more messaging that takes place that I feel like I don't want to be perceived as like, oh, like, hey, you know, I haven't talked to you, blah, 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 you know, and talk. And then at the end, talk about what I'm trying to do or what my goals are. I feel like, I don't know if anyone else feels like this, but I feel like people are going to be like, oh, that's why she's calling, you know, like, and maybe that is a limiting belief. And maybe just like getting a handwritten note of an actual phone call now is like welcome, and people, you know, take it as that. So I don't know if anyone else has that hesitation or that thought. Yeah. I think that comes with the whole, you know, you don't want to be a sleazy, cheesy salesperson, which I understand that. And I do think it comes out in our personalities. And I'm sure that there's a way that it rolls out nicely eventually, but I haven't even made a call yet, but that's how I feel like it's going to be, you know, so I'm also confident that I can make it authentic, but still, I just would be curious to know how anyone else has gotten over that, if they were even hung up with it.
Yeah, go ahead. Trevor, and then Arthur as well, please.
So I remember Darren from the Hartford in one of the Ignite classes talking about that very thing. He had a cousin who ended up selling his home. He found out, he called him, said, how come you didn't use me? And Darren said, I forgot you were a realtor. And that stuck with me, that, you know, it's okay to reach out and say, I'm a realtor now. I'm excited about it. I just want everybody to know, so that when that opportunity happens, when you have a need, I could be there for you. And now you know. It can be that simple.
Absolutely.
Thanks, that's helpful. I heard somebody else say in one of the classes that, if people need to know that that's what you're doing now. Like if people don't know that you're an agent, then you're doing something wrong.
We have to tell everybody in our life 7 times we're in real estate before they forget.
Well, I did the second I passed my test when I bought myself balloons, and the guy asked me why I was buying balloons, and I told him. So
That one guy you bought balloons from, now you have to tell him 6 more times, then he'll forget. And then maybe the 8th to 20th time, he'll be transactional.
He gave me 2 names, his 2 sons. It just got
Amen.
approved for.
Perfect.
But I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So anyway.
Have you ever tried just saying the same thing 7 times, Tim? Like, hey, John, I can't remember. Did I tell you I was in real estate? And it's now the 7th time in 2 years. Yes, you told me. You call me all the time to tell me. Have you ever
I know,
tried
but
that?
you're not. Well, Trevor, if you've got a checklist next to Rhonda's name, and you're like, I have to call and tell her this exact same. No, I just wanted to come up naturally, right? And Arthur, I want Arthur to go, but I want to get back to what Amy was saying about how we approach our Mets and our unmets. Go ahead, Arthur.
Okay, well, like Amy, I'm brand new. I do have my license, but I've only been working for Keller Williams this is actually going to be my 3rd week. My last career was I ran a small restaurant, like a lunch counter. So I know literally, I guarantee you, I know 1,500 people, but only on a first name basis because they came in every day with blue collar. So for me to get the contact list has been harder, but I just started doing it. These people I knew on a first name basis, I knew where they work. So I've been going to those businesses and meeting people face to face and telling them. So now I'm starting to get a little, I'm starting to ask their names and their contact information. But for me to build my list, it's been easier to physically go there and talk to people.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Arthur, I would argue too, if you enjoy a cup of coffee and the place that you used to work has good coffee, you should set up camp in that coffee shop. You should set up camp there. So as those people are coming in, like, oh my God, what are you doing on the side of the counter? I'm glad you asked. I got my license. I'm licensed to kill with Keller Williams. Who do you know that I can serve? Or, right, that you roll right back into the conversation.
I just did that on that break. I called 2 people and I'm meeting them there to have coffee one day this week. But that's the easiest way for me. And I'm comfortable talking on the phone, but not nearly as comfortable as I am looking somebody in the face.
Sure.
Love it. Yeah,
Amy.
and everybody should do that. Everybody should go find a local spot now that everything's open again, and go and sit with your laptop and be there on a regular basis. And they sell these really cool decals that can go on the back.
Realtor on duty. Yeah.
Yep. And so
real estate questions answered here.
Yeah, and I got a listing that way one day. I was sitting in Panera. It was packed. I was sitting in there, and some guy walked up to me and said, "Can I ask you are you in real estate? Can I ask you a question?" I'm like, "I'm ready to list my condo." And we had a conversation. I listed his condo like the following week. So it works. You just have to be out there and put yourself out there. And when you're sitting out there, don't be afraid to, like, as people walk by, smile at them and say hello, right? Because if you're like too busy, like on your laptop working away, everybody's going to walk right by and they're going to assume you're too busy. Make yourself available. Make your energy available out there for people to want to sit and talk to you. Say hello to people.
We also want to clarify we're in a 6-state conversation. And if Rhonda is sitting at Panera and I march by and ask her if I can hit her with a question, she's also going to clarify with me if I'm currently working with anybody. Right? She's not going to be additional jurisdiction over my already signed transaction, just so we're clear. Amy, I just wanted to say to your point about making that phone call to the people that you know and love and trust and coming across as salesy, we don't really want you to do that. Now, the high D, if Nathan Dickey were in the room, he absolutely wants you to put all your friends in a headlock and get them to buy something yesterday. Absolutely. Right. That being said, everyone that's in your life currently, we want to just nurture them back into, picture yourself, Amy, sitting in a boat, little tiny boat, and you're sitting in this body of water, which is your current sphere of influence. It's not that big yet. And the boat's not that big yet. Your job is to get all the people that are in the water around your boat, the people that you know and love and trust, your current sphere of influence, into the boat. Because what are you going to eventually say? Timmy, I need a bigger boat. Yes, you need a bigger ambassadorship, right? Because all your ambassadors are going to be in the ship, right? And then as you're pulling Rhonda into the boat, after having those constructive conversations and nurturing her into your ship, you're pulling her into the boat and saying, hey, who's that little redheaded guy standing on the shore over there on the sand that I don't know yet? Oh, that's Nathan Dickey. Should I know him? You should absolutely know him. And you get him in. So as you're having your conversations with David Elliott and Trevor Grist, and you're on the 5th conversation with David Elliott, the video game of what we're doing, Amy, is when you have that first conversation with Trevor, who's known to you, you're not calling him to see if he wants to buy something today. You're calling him to find out who he knows that you should know. And then invariably he's giving you a person to talk to. So now you're on conversation 3 with Trevor, conversation 4 with David, conversation 5 with Rhonda, conversation 1 with me. The hamster wheel never stops spinning. Sorry to break all of your hearts, right? The video game never stops. On the other side of that, Amy, how we want to behave in this environment too, with the people that are just here to be transactional with us or initially transactional. Think if you're working in a retail store and somebody walks up to the counter with the product they intend to buy. You're not going to grab it and be like, so how are you? You want to grab lunch later? You're going to reverse engineer nurturing the relationships because you're going to bring them in. You're going to close the deal. If they're showing up transactionally, be transactional in the moment, and then stick to them like a cheap suit after that because you want to stay engaged with them because you don't want to have the Darren Geddick thing happen to you. Hey, you're my brother, you're my sister. We've been in school together our entire lives. Why did you list with somebody else? Because you never called, which made me feel like you never cared. And I forgot you were in real estate. And this will happen to all of you. Like next summer, you're going to walk into a backyard barbecue and then be like, oh, Rhonda, I forgot you're in real estate. We just bought a house with that company, with the other red company, the one with the balloon. Yeah, they're all full of hot air. Yeah, well, I forgot you were doing real estate.
Terrible.
Like for me and some other people with more gray hair than we want, I walk into the backyard, they're like, oh, you're still alive and you're still doing real estate. Like everybody thinks I'm dead and I'm not doing real estate. So I have to correct them on both levels. But if I get disconnected from them, it's not their job to remember that I'm the real estate agent of choice in their life. If I only told them once with an email on the day I got my license, right? So if people are showing up in our world transactionally, transact with them and then relate with them and then stay close. If people are in your life and the relationship's already there and you don't want to suddenly become transactional, then just nurture them and keep them close to you. So every 3 to 6 years when they become transactional, you're the agent of choice in their life. It's not that you have to be okay with having the conversations every day that are only going to come into fruition in 5 to 7 years.
Yeah,
But if we're doing that enough, we're going to have the opportunity on a weekly basis to be at a closing table with somebody that knows us. Because until we're in relationship with them, all they have is our reputation. And if your reputation sucks on ice with a side of fries, then you're going to be at Kohl's or Walmart or wherever our friend was doing the merchandising before.
Okay, awesome. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
Thank you, Tim. That was that was so perfect. I hope everybody took that to heart because that right there, I think that just ended this session of Ignite absolutely perfectly. So before we wrap up though, I want at least 3 ahas from you guys today on how this session was. I did put my contact information into the chat if anybody needs anything or has any questions. So give me some ahas. What you guys think?
My biggest one was when we were talking about selling yourself as a buyer's agent. You know, people just assume, well, we'll just take the 2%, whatever they want to give us. But making yourself out there is, you know, I'm better than that. Going down that path, I think that was really a big aha.
Great, awesome.
I have one.
Steve?
The reverse 100. What a tremendous idea. I noticed you wrote it down too.
I did. Give me a ring for a ring. I love that. I hope everybody wrote that down. That is amazing. Such a great idea. Take it and run with it.
Yeah.
Okay, one more aha.
To piggyback what Chris said, you know, about, you know, knowing your value, but also understanding the importance and having the courage to just have that conversation about the money, that we're here to make money too. It's, you know, we're providing a service. So we need to be confident about that conversation and have it. Don't be afraid to have it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I want to say thank you. Tim, any last words from you? Thank you so much for joining us. You're always a bright spot to see you when you jump on.
I love when you lie like that.
No, I'm not
And
lying.
she did it with a smile. There's a crisp $30 bill headed your way, Rhonda, for saying that. I appreciate it. You know what, guys, this is such a great environment for you guys to learn. I think honestly, with everything that's been said today, I've been saying this a lot in the last couple of weeks because it's been cropping up in our market center about, as agents, it's been really difficult to manage client expectations. And it is going to be a lot easier throughout your entire career to manage expectations when you set them in the beginning, right? This is not a paint by numbers like, oh, we'll get there eventually. Like, just be very clear. You're allowed to set expectations. This is your business. Yes, ultimately, everyone here right now that's looking for their first listing, their first buyer, their first both is excited to be engaged with anybody. I want to get you. Rhonda wants to get you. Gary wants to get you to a point where you have the leverage to push away from the kitchen table if crazy is on the other side. You don't have to work with everybody. They're coming into your ecosystem and getting used to that mutual language of, hey, you know what, should we choose to work together? Should we choose? Well, I'm going to pick you. Well, no. My job, we talk about leverage all the time, right? Leveraging everybody that came into this ecosystem of real estate came here to manage two things, or to leverage two things, your calendar and your checkbook. So let's behave that way, right? Your job is to get home to your loved ones with more money faster. Unless Rhonda and I are in the wrong group, I believe that's why we're here, to help you get home to your loved ones with more money faster. So ask yourself, is the task I'm doing right now, is the client I'm working with right now going to help me meet that goal? Home to my loved ones faster with more money. Well, it's not all about money, Tim. I love people and I love houses. If I could put people, shut up. Let's stop saying that. This is about profitability. We're running businesses. The byproduct of us running our businesses and helping humans get into housing, we are paid commensurately for that task. So are you doing money-making activities? Are you going to get home to your loved ones faster today with more money, or with more money on the horizon? So please manage client expectations by setting them. You're in charge of your business. You will be a victim of your own greatness, like it or not.
Wow. Love that. Thank you. Thank you, Tim. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate your time today and for you showing up for Ignite session 3. And we'll look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. I don't have Steve, do you have it in front of you? What's our topic tomorrow?
I didn't know it was going to be.
Sorry, because I just put you on the spot because I didn't have.
Yeah, you put me on the spot.
Just say value proposition. There'll be value proposition and cake. Just show back up at 9 o'clock. It's going to be great.
And Tim will be there tomorrow teaching the class.
No. I can promise you I will not be here. They're all like, I'm not coming back if Lindsay's back. Tomorrow, yeah.
It says your database is your business.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes. So make sure you show up. Make sure you're in the Facebook group. And remember, all of these sessions are recorded. So that way, if you have to miss one, you can go back. Just make sure you go back and watch it again. We're doing this every other month. This is like the best. So thank you guys for your time. I know your time is valuable and we appreciate all of you. If you need anything at all, you can reach out to myself. You can reach out to Tim. You can reach out to Steve. You can reach out to your leadership, reach out to your team leader. We are here to help you and we're here to support you in your business every single step of the way, every day of the week. All right. So have a great rest of your day. And
thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you.
All right. Ciao, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Rhonda.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here. Have a great day, guys.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Where are the recorded sessions? I tried to find them on YouTube over the weekend and I didn't see these current ones.
So they should, it might just be that it was towards usually they're like a day behind getting them. And it might just be that it was like the first, and then it was Friday and they might not have just popped them on, but go into the Facebook. Are you in the Facebook group?
I am. And I asked in there and everyone said, the responses I got said, look in you. I just listened to 2 from a different session because I jumped in late when I was in the car when the first one. And so I just listened to some other one, but
reach out to Brooke Silva, and I'm going to make sure that she gets that the link is on the Facebook page at the top where everybody can find the recordings for
Okay,
it.
and maybe I just didn't see it, but I thought I looked where everybody said to look, but.
Okay, no worries. We want to make sure that you get your hands on those.
Okay, thanks again. Have a great day.
Have a great day, guys.